Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is a story about what if Naruto and Hinata hide their strength chunin exams. Before I start, please support for more amazing content and do consider subscribing to my channel and share this video with your friends. This is written by Solvdrage and link in the description and support writer. Let's start the video. Chapter 1. Naruto Uzumaki smiled as he walked through the streets of Konoha. He had just returned to the village after his successful mission to bring Tsunade of the Sannin back to the village. Bachan was currently meeting with the elders about the inauguration. Naruto had tried to go to that meeting but had been kicked out. How could those two fossils tell Naruto that this meeting does not concern genin of no standing? Wasn't Naruto pretty much a shoe-in for Rakudame? Whatever. I'll go check in with the rest of the gang. I bet Sakura-chan will be thrilled that Bachan will be able to help Sasuke. Then, bushy brows will be up and running again man, Bachan's actually going to be useful. Naruto. A girl called out from behind him. Naruto turned to face the voice when he was practically tackled by bushy brows weapon-using teammate. Tenten. Naruto asked while hoping he got the name right. Need something? Is it true? Tenten pleaded with Naruto. There were clearly stars in her eyes. What? Naruto squawked. Tsunade-sama is back in the village. Tenten squealed. Yeah, I brought Bachan back to the village. She's meeting with those stuck-up elders now. Naruto grinned. That's so great. She'll be able to heal Lee. Tenten's face suddenly fell. I just wish Neji was around. I think he'd like to hear about your mission. He admires you, Naruto. Really? Neji admires me? Naruto repeated Tenten's last statement as a question. He didn't use the word admire, though. You've seen Neji. He's a genius, so his actual words were a lot more poetic. I need to thank you for whatever you did when you beat him in the chunin exam finals. Tenten had a dreamy look on her face as the two genin started walking towards the center of town. You two started dating, didn't you? Naruto snickered when Tenten turned bright red. Tenten nodded. It's been great. But that has made the last couple of days really hard. No one has seen Neji or Hinata in a while. I was on my way to meet with some of the gang we took the chunin exams with to talk about it. There was something very off about this entire situation. The Konoha 12, as the youngest genin teams of Naruto's generation had been named, rarely gathered into one large group. In fact, all 12 had only been in the same room a handful of times. First was the initial stage of the chunin exams, where Marino Ibiki sadistically tested their information-gathering skills and their resolve. The second, and final time, had been for the preliminary rounds of the finals tournament. Naruto knew that the only complete team that truly hung out together outside of missions was Team 10. The second generation of the Ino Shikacho had always been friends. Naruto occasionally hung out with Kiba and Shino or Shikamaru and Choji. The fact that Naruto socialized more with the other teams than his own hurt a bit. Thus, having a good chunk of the group get together was really unusual. So, what exactly is going on? I know Hinata was in kind of rough shape from her fight with Neji, but I talked to her before my match with Neji. Hinata was training then, so I thought she was fine. Neji wasn't too hurt during our match, and I didn't hear about him getting hurt during the invasion, Naruto said as he threw his hands behind his head. I was right. Something is very wrong here. I hope Hinata's okay. Tenten and Naruto reached a relatively new casual dining restaurant. Kiba, Shino, Ino and Choji were sitting at a table. Kiba motioned Naruto and Tenten over. Glad to see you back, Naruto, Kiba greeted. Naruto smiled back. Thanks. Hey, Kiba, you up for a rematch sometime? The Inyazuka smiled and nodded. Shino rapped his knuckles on the table. I am relieved for your safe return, Uzumaki-san. I assume Tenten-san has informed you of the mysterious situation concerning our Haikyuu comrades. Naruto took a seat. No one has seen Neji or Hinata for a while. I was actually going to try to meet up with them later. The whiskered genin wanted to thank Hinata for her pep talk and make sure she saw him knock some sense into Neji, like Naruto had promised. Naruto also wanted to let Neji know their problems would stay in the past if Neji started treating Hinata like family. I've even gone by the Haikyuu compound a few times to see how Hinata was feeling. The guards wouldn't let me see Hinata, Ino confessed. It was widely known that the three rookie Kunoichi had struck up a friendship over the month interlude between the preliminary matches and the finals. That clan is still probably a bit paranoid with Kumo's second attempt to kidnap Hinata, Kiba growled. Naruto looked up in shock. What? They tried again? The pair of Kumo ninja took advantage of the invasion and attempted to kidnap Hinata. Neji, Kiba, and I helped Hiashi-sama stop them. Hiashi-sama didn't stay long. He had to leave to command the defenses at the Haikyuu compound. Orochimaru's forces made a big push to secure the Byakugan, Tenten explained. Taoji swallowed a huge bite of food. Sound made a big push on all the clan compounds. Our dads also had to fight off a big group of Sound and Sand ninja to protect our clan secrets. "We were fighting a war," Naruto said in a small but powerful voice. "We won and will grow stronger for it." Ino blinked a few times before tapping Naruto on the shoulder to make sure some stranger wasn't wearing a Naruto transformation. "Wow, that was profound, Naruto. I'm impressed." Naruto grinned cheekily at the compliment. As shockingly eloquent as Naruto's statement was, our initial queries have not been answered. What is the situation in the Hyuga clan, and why have our teammates and friends not contacted us or our sensei in any form or fashion? Shino interrupted. Naruto glared at the Aburam for a second. After a moment, he sighed and looked up. "I'm going to find Bachan. There are a few things I was going to ask her about anyways. If anyone can help us find out what's going on with Hinata and Niji, it's her." "Wait, when did you get a grandmother?" Chaoji nearly choked on his rice. "She's not really my grandmother. She's just old enough to be," Naruto confessed. "So, who is she?" Kiba asked as he sneaked Akamaru a chicken wing. Naruto shrugged. "Just Tsunade. Gah, I hope she isn't angry that it's been a few days since she's been able to gamble." "Just Tsunade." The other genin screeched in shock at Naruto's casual and less than flattering description of one of the Sannin. "Yeah." Naruto didn't catch the looks of shock and disbelief on his friends' faces. "I'm going to track her down. You want me to get an autograph or something, Tenten?" "Hell yes." Tenten squealed in anticipation. "Oh, and find out what is going on with Niji. I miss him. Make sure Tsunade-sama helps Lee. And tell her she's my hero." Naruto waved off the now fangirling Tenten. "Anyone else have a request for our next Hokage?" Once again, everyone's jaws dropped at Naruto's causal relationship with one of the legendary Sannin. No one could say anything and only shook their heads. "I'll just tell Bachan you said hi, then." Naruto waved to his friends and exited the restaurant. He was only a couple of steps out the door when he heard Kiba shout. "Naruto has to be related to the Hokages. Nobody should be so buddy-buddy with them." Tsunade had never been so grateful to be freed from a meeting in her life. She had sat through meetings with her creditors that were less stressful. Tsunade was as familiar with the role of Hokage as anyone living in Konoha. The accusations that Tsunade lacked a sense of decorum were insulting. "I'm the granddaughter of the Shaddai and the grandniece of the Nidaime. I think I know the protocols." Tsunade fumed. "Tsunade-sama, I'm sure the elders were just following their own set of protocols." Shizune attempted to calm her master and friend. The slug Sannin snorted. "They think they can push me around. I've seen creditors wield more subtlety than those two fossils. I'm going to need some hot sake and a place to relax for a bit." "That'll have to wait, Bachan." Tsunade felt a vein twitch in her forehead at the sound of her most hated nickname. "I am the Goddamn Hokage, brat." Naruto only smiled warmly as Tsunade spun around. Despite the anger in Tsunade's voice, there was a smile on her lips. "What do you want?" "A couple of things, actually." Naruto fished out a small notebook. Shizune gulped and hoped that Naruto wasn't beginning to follow in Jireya's footsteps. "One of my friends wants an autograph. You're her hero." Tsunade beamed. "No one's asked for my autograph in years." "Hell yes." "Sure, what's her name?" "Tenten," Naruto said and accepted the notebook back. "There's more and it's all urgent." "Well, start talking. I've got a lot to take care of at the hospital. Your friends need patching up, don't they?" Tsunade started down the stairs. Naruto and Shizune fell in step with the legendary medic. Shizune followed at a respectful distance, but Naruto walked beside Tsunade as if he were her equal. "Sasuke, bushy brows and Kakashi-sensei got hurt pretty badly," Naruto mentioned offhandedly. He wasn't worried about his friends and teacher now. Naruto had faith in Tsunade. "I know they'll be fine with you here. You may be a loud-mouthed gambling addict, but you sure as hell know your medical ninjutsu." Tsunade didn't know whether she should clobber the brat or hug him. Jiraiya had told Tsunade about Naruto's tendency to act casually with the people he trusted completely. "I hope I'm worthy of that trust, Naruto." "There is something else on your mind, Naruto." The younger blonde loudmouth nodded. He recognized that Tsunade had just read him like a book. "Two of my friends haven't been seen in a while, Hinata and Niji Hyuga. I met with some of the other Konoha 12. We think the Hyuga are still freaking out about Kumo trying to steal the Byakugan again. Problem is, they won't even let us talk to Hinata or Niji." "I'll look into it as soon as I've finished my rounds at the hospital," the fifth promised the boy. "You'll succeed me one day, Naruto," Tsunade thought proudly as Naruto recounted the experiences of his friends during the invasion. "You'll make your father and your ancestors so very proud." Sakura sat at Sasuke's bedside praying for a change in his condition. There had been no change, but Sakura had still visited every day. "I'm coming in," a woman's voice that Sakura didn't recognize drifted into the room. The Pincat was on her feet in an instant to properly greet Sasuke's guest. "May I help you?" Sakura asked politely. "Sakura-chan. Tsunade Bachan is going to heal Sasuke." Naruto burst into the room to reassure Sakura. Sakura nodded once before turning to Tsunade. Guy-sensei informed me of your skill. Please, help Sasuke-kun, Sakura bowed and pleaded with Tsunade. Naruto smiled as he watched Tsunade go to work. He remembered how quickly Tsunade had healed his injuries after the fight with that bastard Kabuto. Naruto would give up Ramen if Sasuke wasn't up and about within a minute after Tsunade finished her jutsu. Uzumaki Naruto knew he had much better luck with bets than Tsunade. When Sasuke stirred and sat up, Naruto's grin threatened to split his face in two. Sasuke, well Naruto started to greet his teammate and friend. Sasuke-kun. Sakura threw herself at the barely conscious Uchiha and cried uncontrollably. At least she's happy. Naruto smiled softly before walking out of the room. Shizune's concerned look went unnoticed. Tsunade smiled approvingly, but was not aware of Naruto's pang of disappointment. I guess he can take other people's feelings into account. The Hokage followed Naruto to the next room. Tsunade healed Kakashi quickly, but spent most of the time assuring Guy that she would examine Rock Lee. Good to see you up again, Kakashi-sensei. Naruto laughed happily. The whiskered genin went out of his way to cheer up Kakashi. Tsunade had torn Kakashi a new one while healing the masked jonin. It's good to be back, Naruto. Kakashi smiled at Naruto's somewhat successful attempt. We'll talk about stepping up Team 7's training when Sasuke and I get out of here. Heck yeah. Naruto pumped his fist. He saw Guy ringing the curtain surrounding Kakashi-sensei's bed. Next, onto bushy brows. I was wide-eyed from a combination of hope, distress, and impatience. Please, Tsunade-sama. You must help my precious student Rock Lee. Like Guy and Naruto led Tsunade through the halls. The slug Sannin was familiar with the hospital, but was content to allow her too excitable ninja to guide her to Lee. Lee. We have brought Tsunade-sama. Guy announced gleefully. Tsunade took a good look at the young man. Lee was truly Guy's apprentice. It took only a second to realize that Lee would not recover with just medical ninjutsu. The boy would need invasive surgery and a lengthy physical recovery. This is your disciple? Tsunade asked. Guy pumped his fist. This is my precious student Rock Lee. Naruto, don't you have some other appointment? Tsunade reminded Naruto. Yeah, I need to meet Iruka-sensei. Naruto turned to leave. Wait. What about Hinata and Neji? We need to figure out what's going on with them. I'll check into it after I examine Lee, Tsunade promised. Naruto wished everybody good luck before speeding off to visit his favorite academy teacher. Who knows? Maybe Iruka-sensei has heard something about Hinata and Neji. I'm sorry Naruto. I haven't seen Hinata or Neji since the invasion. Though Iruka tapped his chopsticks against his bowl of ramen. Though what, Iruka-sensei? You've got to tell me. Hinata and Neji are my friends and everyone is really worried about them. Naruto pressed hard. Iruka sighed. Remember the lessons on clan politics? Something about how the Hokage can't get involved in clan stuff unless it threatens the village or something. Naruto recited what he remembered. Iruka beamed that his favorite student actually remembered an academic lesson from the academy. Exactly. I've heard that the Hokage are going through some political upheavals at the moment. Orochimaru hit the compound hard, Iruka reported. How can politics throw up? Naruto cocked his head to the side in utter confusion. The Hokage aren't throwing up. That's heaving, Naruto. Upheaval is when something gets shaken up and changes, Iruka explained with a laugh. So, things shouldn't be too bad. I'm not going to have to get the 12 together and rescue them, am I? The young man asked after draining his bowl of broth. Iruka cracked up. I don't think you'll have to do anything so rash, Naruto. Sure. Though, it would help me fulfill my promise to Neji, and I'm sure Hinata wouldn't mind too much if the 12 helped me clean house, Naruto said confidently. What did you promise Neji? Iruka asked curiously. Oh, that I'd help get rid of the Hokage cursed seal when I'm Hokage. The whole thing is a load of bullshit. Hinata's going to be the next head of the Hokage, so she'll help out, Naruto stated his goal simply. Iruka hurriedly changed the subject. The teacher actually agreed with Naruto and Neji's ambition, but Iruka didn't want Naruto to make an enemy of the Hokage clan. Naruto excitedly told him about his mission to retrieve Tsunade. Iruka nearly had a heart attack when Naruto talked about his fight with Kabuto. The pair parted ways in a great mood. Iruka was incredibly proud of Naruto's growth as both a person and a ninja. Naruto was grateful to be receiving recognition for his efforts. He was still a bit upset that Sakura-chan had not even said a word to Naruto. So much for asking her out, Naruto thought glumly as he walked up the stairs towards his apartment. Immediately, something struck him as wrong. Naruto broke out into a sprint and saw that his door had been forced open. Shit. Naruto drew a kunai and summoned a pair of clones. The original and one of the clones took up positions on each side of the door. The remaining shadow clones stormed the room. Naruto expected to hear the pop of a dispelling clone. Instead, he heard a loud groan followed by the clone cursing up a storm. Naruto pushed aside the door and his heart fell as he looked at his apartment. It had been ransacked. Naruto could barely remember the last time his apartment had been vandalized. Damn it, Naruto groaned as he summoned more shadow clones to clean up and make sure nothing was stolen. The process did not take long thanks to the clones. Naruto was infinitely grateful that everything he owned was still present. I'll tell Iruka-sensei, Iro-senin, and Bachan about this tomorrow. Naruto groaned as he flopped onto his bed. He was about to drift off to sleep when there was a knock at his door. The attack on his apartment had made Naruto cautious. He was nervous, so he summoned another clone. The clone drew a brace of shuriken and hid out of sight. Naruto walked to the door. "Who is it?" Naruto asked through the door. It's me, Naruto-kun." Hinata's voice was barely audible through the door. Naruto flung open the door. "Hinata. Are you okay? I've been worried about you. Heck, everyone is worried about you and Niji. Are you alright? Do you need my help?" Naruto fired off half a dozen sentences in a single breath. "Hinata, do not forget, you only have 20 minutes, a hike." Naruto didn't recognize sneered at the distraught girl. The tone was identical to Niji's during the preliminary match. "Boy. Don't talk to her like that. I'm sure you remember what happened to the last Hikage who talked to Hinata like that." Naruto growled. The Hikage guard twitched and was about grab Hinata when she stepped forward. "And Naruto-kun, can we talk inside? There's something I have to tell you." Naruto nodded once and invited Hinata in. The Hikage guard started to follow Hinata in. "I invited Hinata in, not you jackasses." Hinata had a faint smile as Naruto slammed the door. For a moment, Hinata allowed herself the fantasy that Naruto would let her stay forever. The clan would never allow that, of course, but it was a comforting fantasy. "So, Hinata, what do you need to tell me?" Naruto asked as he pulled up a seat for Hinata. Hinata wiped away a few tears. There is so much I want, no, I have to tell you, because I'll never get another chance. This is the last time we'll ever see each other, Naruto-kun." Chapter 2. Naruto stared at Hinata in shock for several seconds. "What are you talking about? Of course we'll see each other again. I mean, Iruka-sensei said your clan is going through some upheavals or whatever, but that will work itself out, won't it?" "I am so sorry, Naruto-kun. My father is no longer head of the Hikage. The council revoked his title because of the losses we suffered during the invasion." Hinata choked up and started crying. Naruto was suddenly overwhelmed by the urge to simply be there for Hinata. He was incredibly confused by this strange and sudden urge. Naruto and Hinata had never really been close before the chunin exams. The only real memory he had of Hinata before the exams was how shy and kind she was. This sudden urge to protect her was fresh. In fact, it still confused the hell out of Naruto. So, without really thinking, Naruto simply hugged the distraught girl. "Keep talking. I can't help if I don't know what's going on," Naruto whispered gently. Hinata sniffled a bit. "I am being sealed in 1 week. The Hikage Council has barred me from ever leaving the compound. Hanabi will be the new heiress." Hinata once again broke down. "They can't do that," Naruto shouted. "What the hell gives them the right? The council, they can't have anyone loyal to my father in positions of power." Hinata sobbed into Naruto's shoulder. "We have a week. We can make this right," Naruto promised. I wish I could be as confident as you. That's why Hinata closed her eyes and paused. "What is it, Hinata?" The softness in Hinata's tone caught Naruto off guard. Naruto felt a heat in his cheeks that he had never felt before. Hinata pulled herself away and took several deep breaths. "Do you remember our conversation before your match with Niji Niasen?" Hinata forced herself to look Naruto in the eyes. "This is the moment I have dreamed of. I cannot falter." Naruto nodded. "You said I was a proud failure and had the strength to keep going." Naruto paused. "You also mentioned intense feelings of the heart." "I did," Hinata said and looked away with a shy smile on her face. Naruto matched Hinata's smile. She wasn't crying anymore, which was an infinite improvement. "What did you mean by that?" Naruto gulped. He had a feeling of where this was leading. Hinata's face shot up. She wore the same look of determination she had when she stood up to Niji. "I love you." Love?" Naruto stammered. He had just realized that Hinata liked him, but love? That had been completely unexpected. "Me? No one has ever told me that. How do I even respond to that? Hinata's a great friend and an amazing person, but…" "I love you, Naruto-kun," Hinata repeated. "I have always admired you. The chunin exams, that was when I knew that I loved you. I nearly gave up when Ibiki-san told us about the 10th question. Your words gave me hope that I could accomplish my goal of changing myself. I realized how hopelessly I loved you during my fight with Niji. After all the years of waiting, I found the courage I never had before. I was so glad that you helped me realize my own self-worth, even if I only had it for a little while." "You've always been worth something," Naruto said with quiet conviction. "But do I deserve your love?" Naruto's question caught Hinata completely off guard. What do you mean? You nearly died, Hinata-chan. If I hadn't kept yelling for you, you wouldn't have taken that second blow to the heart. That's why I didn't visit in the hospital. I was terrified that you hated me. Our conversation at training ground 3 meant a lot. I knew then that I hadn't lost one of my few friends. That meant as much to me as the confidence you gave me before my fight with Niji. Naruto pinned Hinata in place with an intense but vulnerable stare. I don't know my feelings for you yet, but you deserve so much more. Calling you Hinata-chan is the least I can do. Hinata brought her hand to her mouth. He called me Hinata-chan. I have one less regret now. I could never hate you, Naruto-kun. Thank you, Hinata-chan, Naruto said simply. Our time is nearly up. I wish this could have lasted forever. Oh, how I wish this could have lasted forever. Hinata shook away her tears. I have one last gift, my love. Again, the depth of Hinata's feelings stunned Naruto. No one had ever been so outspoken in their love for him. Naruto found he could only watch Hinata place a scroll on his table. Hinata gently placed a hand on Naruto's cheek. He was so emotionally overwhelmed, he couldn't react to the physical contact. When Hinata kissed him, Naruto could only melt into it. It is too much too soon. This isn't fair. I don't think I'll ever get a second chance at this. Naruto's mind raced. The 2 Haikyuu guards entered the room and hissed at the sight. I think we've indulged this farce long enough, the first Haikyuu sneered. The second guard grabbed Hinata by the shoulder and pulled her away. Naruto was ripped away from the moment. The conflicting bliss and pain was replaced by rage. Where do you think you're taking her? To the compound. Do not interfere, Uzumaki, the taller guard ordered. The hell you are. Naruto roared. Hinata froze in place. He is doing this for me. You and I are Jonin. Would you risk your life, your future, to oppose us? The taller Haikyuu asked disdainfully. Damn right I would. Naruto felt the Kickbee's chakra flow from the seal. He's tapping into the Kickbee's chakra. Stop him, Jinichi. Yudai bellowed. Jinichi activated his Byakugan without hand seals. 8 trigrams. 64 palms. Jinichi, in his fear, did not use the formal name for the devastating Jikan technique. Hinata screamed Naruto's name and struggled against Yudai's grip. We must leave. The council must be informed of this. The last image Naruto saw before slipping into unconsciousness was Hinata struggling against her captors and begging them to let her help Naruto. The last word to escape Naruto's lips was her name. Pain racked Naruto's body as his chakra points began the process of forcing themselves open. The emotionally and physically devastated young man clawed over to the nearest chair. Naruto pulled himself up and looked at the clock. 4 hours. Naruto grimaced and stared at his open door. It's been 4 hours since those bastards stole her. The agony of what had occurred racked Naruto's body. The shock of Hinata's confession and predicament transcended purely emotional pain and became physical. The words I love you had always been something Naruto dreamed of hearing. Though, it had always been Sakura-chan in his dreams. Truthfully, Naruto realized Sakura-chan would never return his feelings for him. Sakura's heart belonged totally and completely to Sasuke. Naruto finally accepted Sasuke's victory when Sakura had thrown herself at the Uchiha in the hospital without a second's thought for Naruto. Is Hinata-chan's love for me that strong? How could it be? I nearly killed her. Why me? What have I done to deserve anyone's love? Naruto screamed in frustration and swiped at the scroll on the table next to him. He had to lash out at something. Something had to pay for Naruto's failure to stop those 2 Haikyuu bastards from taking Hinata. What did I do that for? Hinata gave me that scroll. Naruto cursed at himself and shot out of the chair. His entire body was still numb from the 8 trigrams. 64 palms, but Naruto pressed on. The scroll had been knocked under Naruto's beside table. Naruto fumbled for the scroll and sighed in relief that it had not been damaged. The scroll was made of the finest materials. This thing probably costs more than my stove and fridge combined, Naruto said in shock. Our worlds are so different. Why did she choose me? Naruto looked at the handwriting on the outside of the scroll. It was firm and regal. There was no way this could be from Hinata. Naruto could never picture her handwriting being so masculine. Wait, is this from Niji? Naruto opened the scroll and was shocked by the length of the letter. Uzumaki Naruto. If this letter has arrived in your possession, then my eldest daughter has concluded her private affairs with you. The clan council granted her leave to visit a single comrade outside the walls of our proud ancestral home. Of all her comrades and associates in Konoha, she chose you. I am aware that I possess shortcomings as a father. I take full responsibility for my personal failings. I, perhaps, was not the ideal father for Hinata, but I was not unobservant. Hinata's abiding affections for you were not unknown to me. Uzumaki Naruto, I do not presume to know you personally. However, I observed your character in your match against my beloved brother's son, Niji. I see within you the fire and considerate nature of your parentage. The laws of the recently passed Sandame Hokage bar me from revealing the truth of your heritage, so do not press me on this front. My observations lead me to believe that you will not cruelly dismiss or reject my beloved Hinata's confession. If, however, I discover that you made a mockery of my daughter's love, then you will earn my undying enmity. Oh god, we aren't even dating yet, and he's already threatening to kill me, Naruto said with a gulp before continuing to read. Hinata undoubtedly informed you of the political situation facing the Hyuga clan. I do not harbor any ill will towards the clan council for revoking my stewardship of the clan. I failed in my duties to safeguard the clan during Orochimaru's invasion. The clan suffered grievous casualties in battle. It was only through the providence of heaven that the enemy did not secure any prisoners or Hyuga corpses. Uzumaki Naruto, I know you will seek the Godame Hokage's aid. The only individuals I ask for you to seek justice for are Hinata and Neji. The clan council seeks to punish them harshly for my failings. I ask that you save them. I dearly hope you accept my plea out of a sense of love for my daughter and friendship for my nephew. If you will not accept my plea for love and duty, then I offer power. This scroll contains detailed knowledge of the fox demons. This information will hopefully allow you to more skillfully control the Kyuubi's chakra flowing in your system. I possess more information on fox demons in the compound. Thus, Uzumaki Naruto, I give you a choice. Will you aid me out of a sense of duty to the woman who loves you completely and to the young man who respects you above all others? Or, will you aid me out of a desire for greater power? I await your decision. Know this, if you abuse this power, I will seek to expunge my greatest failure and dedicate myself to protecting my family and my village. Do not destroy the trust Hinata has placed in you. Hyuga 24th clan head of the Hyuga. Naruto had never read anything so formal in his entire life. Hinata's dad had gone out of his way to use the formal title for Bachan and use the ancient way of writing names. Naruto felt smarter just by reading the letter. The Jinchuriki of the nine-tailed fox wasn't sure what to think about Hiashi Hyuga. Hiashi was undoubtedly a very proud man. Naruto could feel the pride Hinata's father had in the Hyuga clan. Unfortunately, Naruto thought he had screwed up with Hinata. Hiashi had completely failed to recognize how amazing Hinata was while raising her. At least Hiashi's man enough to admit when he screws up, Naruto said respectfully as he completely unfurled the scroll. Now to see what this fox demon stuff is all about. Naruto stared slack-jawed at the amount of information available. There were dozens of diagrams, pages of information, and strange symbols that hurt to look at. Might as well start at the beginning. Subspecies of the fox demons, Naruto read out loud. How am I going to make heads or tails of all this? Naruto closed his eyes and lamented in his head. It is time that we had a talk, Naruto Uzumaki. Hinata slowly unpacked her belongings. After the clan council, officially Hanabi's regents, had stripped Hinata of her title of heiress, Hinata had been moved to the branch family quarters. The loss of her enormous room did not bother Hinata. She had often felt lonely and isolated in her quarters. The simpler bedroom she now occupied was more to her tastes. Unfortunately, Hinata could not bring herself to accept the cozy room. It was her prison. This room would isolate her from the great joys of her life. Hinata would never be able to advance as a kunoichi under Kurenai's watchful eyes. There would never be another opportunity like the chunin exams. Yes, she had nearly died several times. The first time was the near encounter with Gaara of the desert in the Forest of Death. Her battle against Neji had actually killed her at one point. Neji's gentle fist attacks had actually stopped her heart for nearly 45 seconds. Hinata still savored the opportunity of the chunin exams. She had proven to herself, her team, and most importantly, to the man she loved, that she could grow and change. The realization that she would never see Kurenai-sensei, Kiba-kun, Shino-kun, and most painfully of all, Naruto-kun, again, tore her apart. At least Naruto-kun knows that I will always love him, Hinata thought as she wiped away her latest tears. He had been so kind during her confession. The kiss they shared would be Hinata's most cherished memory. Oni-chan, may I come in? Hanabi's question had unwittingly saved her sister from sliding deeper into melancholy. Of course, Hanabi-sama, Hinata replied automatically. The door slid open and Hinata's little sister entered with a frown on her face. Please don't call me that. Hanabi chewed her lip. You're the only one in the compound who calls me Hanabi-chan. You're the heiress now, Hinata said simply. Well, I didn't want it like this. The younger Hyuga girl screamed. Hinata walked over to her sister and simply hugged her. None of us wanted it like this, Imauto, Hinata said as she comforted her sister. Why is the council doing this? Daddy did all he could to protect everyone. The newly declared heiress cried into her big sister's jacket. Hanabi strove to act mature and to be the perfect Hyuga, but she was still a 7-year-old girl. Father did everything you could ask of a leader. The council forgets that our eyes, while powerful, do not make us clairvoyant. Father could not foresee Suna's treachery or Orochimaru's attack. He is a great man, but father is not a prophet, Hinata tried to explain. The two girls were silent for several moments before Hanabi spoke again. Did you tell Naruto-san? I told Naruto-kun that I loved him. The elder Hika smiled at the memory. Did he say it back? Hanabi asked hopefully. Naruto-kun was very kind. I would like to think that if we had more time, maybe. Hinata felt the regret spilling forward. If only we'd had more time. Oh, Hanabi said in disappointment. It's alright, Imauto. The fact that I was able to tell him is enough. Hinata and Hanabi separated so that Hinata could continue to unpack. Hanabi wordless offered to help. Hiashi's daughters allowed themselves to forget their troubles and simply be sisters, if only for a little while. I think I have a plan, Wani-chan. Hanabi shouted. The sudden outburst caused Hinata to jump in surprise. What is it, Hanabi-chan? Hinata asked after taking a moment to overcome her surprise. I'm allowed to leave the compound to go to the academy. Konohamaru, Naruto-san's self-proclaimed minion, is in my class. We could work out ways to keep you and Naruto-san in touch. Hanabi was bright-eyed at the 7-year-old genius of her plan. You would do that for me? Hinata felt her breath catch in her throat. You're my big sister. Of course I will. You will owe me though. Hanabi ended her reply with a smirk. Hinata snatched Hanabi's hands. Anything. I, as heiress of the Hika clan, hereby order you, Hinata Hika, to teach me how to press flowers, Hanabi ordered tongue-in-cheek. Mine never turn out as pretty as yours. Hinata was crying again. This time, she was crying because she had gotten her sister back. Hinata pulled her favorite flower press out of its box and collected a few flowers from a nearby vase. The secret to pressing flowers is. It has been a while since we've had a chat, the Kikbi growled from behind the bars of his seal. The last time we talked you tried to eat me. That kind of talk kinda kills all desire to talk, Naruto shot back. So I did. I think we need renegotiate our lease, the greatest of the Bijk smirked. You aren't getting out. Naruto snapped. That would be too much to hope for. The Kikbi shook his head. I have an alternative arrangement you might be interested in. Naruto turned and started to leave. Forget it. What could you offer me that I'd care about? Our current deal works just fine. The Ashi Hika's documents barely scratched the surface of the fox demons. I can show you the depths of that power. I can teach you to wield it. And how do I know this isn't a trick to get me to release you? Naruto stopped but did not turn around. Oh, this is an attempt to convince you to release me. It just isn't a trick. Naruto Uzumaki, you are far cleverer than anyone realizes. In fact, you are very much like myself and my children. Of all my hosts, I have held the greatest connection to you and your mother, the Kikbi confessed idly. Naruto spun around as grabbed the bars of the cage. Tell me about my mother, right the fuck now. Naruto trembled with rage and anticipation. All in good time, Jinchuriki. The Kikbi leaned in close to the bars and looked Naruto directly in the eyes. The fox smiled when, instead of flinching away, Naruto returned the glare with even greater intensity. I must have something to negotiate with, after all. In fact, I have 2 points to negotiate with. The identity of your mother and Hinata Hika. If you threaten her, I'll come in there and kick your ass. The warden threatened his prisoner. That resolve is why I respect you. So, let's make a deal. I grant you power, knowledge and access to techniques rarely seen by mortals, and you give me a bit of a longer leash. You've got my attention. Start talking, furball, Naruto ordered the demon. The Bijk shifted positions and smiled. Then let's talk. Chapter 3. Naruto fumed as he stood at the Kikbi's cage. The demon fox had not said a single word for several seconds. Instead, the Bijk had simply grinned at its agitated jailer. There was no way Naruto could allow this to continue. Time was not on Hinata's side. Naruto was already enraged that the Hika were holding Hinata hostage. The Kikbi holding both the power to save Hinata and the identity of Naruto's mother hostage was completely unforgivable. Start talking. The Jinchuriki ordered fiercely. In all due time, Jinchuriki. It has been so long since I've had authority that I simply wish to bask in this small amount of freedom, the Kikbi finished his statement with a smug smile. Authority? Naruto spat the word as if it was rotten ramen. This is my mind. It is your prison. The only authority here is mine. If you get any freedom it is because I allowed. The Kikbi took a step back as Naruto's will manifested visually in the mindscape. Naruto's focus bored into the Kikbi and he missed the details of his will. The details were not missed by the Kikbi. This resembles Kushina's chakra chains. The Bijk thought in a panic. The golden chains snaked their way around the Kikbi's prison. In that moment, the greatest of the tailed beasts experienced an emotion that was utterly alien to the chakra creature. Panic. Naruto's manifested will was constricting the cage. The Kikbi felt its own will being overpowered by Naruto's. He is a human child. I am a Bijk. This shouldn't be possible. Humanity is truly full of fools to have underestimated you for so long, the Kikbi painfully grunted. And you're the biggest fool of all. Start talking, Naruto ordered. Where shall we begin, Warden? The demon asked with a hint of bitterness. The power you were talking about. If I'm going to save Hinata-chan, I'm going to need every bit of help I can get, Naruto said sternly. His gaze never wavered or left the Kikbi's eyes. As Hiyashi's document said, I am not the only fox demon. I am the greatest of the fox demons. To borrow a word from your woefully inadequate human language, I am the father of the fox demons. The physical plane cannot cope with a being such as myself. A great deal of my chakra leaked away at the moment of my birth. Just as the great creature from which I was sired was separated into 9 beings, so was my power. My children lurk in the dark and forgotten places of your world. They are currently without purpose and direction. As long as I am sealed within you, they will fall back to our natural instincts. Destruction, the Kikbi explained. The tailed beast motioned with one of its great tails to silence Naruto's budding interruption, then continued, but not mindless destruction. Foxes, after all, are clever. I can sense that several of my children have been destroyed by humans. This cannot be permitted to continue. It pains me, but I must bind them to a strong purpose. You are the only human who would not enslave my children. What are you getting at, furball? Naruto was intrigued by the fox's explanation. You will awaken soon. When you do, create a Rasengan. I will pour not only my chakra into the technique, but my will and the connection to my children. We will give birth to a summoning contract, the Kikbi revealed. So, I'm going to be able to summon foxes? Naruto asked excitedly. I hope the toads won't get too mad. I don't need Boss Bunta being pissed off at me. There are many abilities that the toads, as inferior as they are to my progeny, can teach that my kind cannot grant, the fox admitted. And Boss Bunta has never tried to eat me, Naruto growled. But we're not done here. My mother. Ah yes. Your mother. I did mention her, didn't I? Kikbi spoke glibly. Naruto was beginning to lose the emotional control he had recently regained. He noticed that the chains surrounding the Kikbi were constricting the cage again. I see that you do not take threats or slights to the women in your life well, Jinchuriki. Talk, or I'll squeeze you like a grape, Naruto commanded the fox. Very well. You are not the first human to imprison me. The first was the wife of the infuriating Shaddai Hokage. The second was your mother, Kushina Uzumaki. She was a powerful human. Kushina fought until the end to protect you, the Kikbi spoke with caution. The Bijk was acutely aware that it had underestimated Naruto. If Naruto discovered the truth of his mother's death, the Kikbi would likely be broken completely by Naruto's strength of will. He cannot realize the power he possesses over me. Though I respect him more than any human I have ever encountered, I cannot allow my being to be cast aside. I know you aren't telling me everything. You're too much of a manipulative bastard for that. But Naruto looked away. I've never even known my own mother's name until today. Thank you. What do you want in exchange? You are a clever Jinchuriki. What I want is something I know you will not grant. Instead, I offer a compromise. I'll consider it, Naruto sneered as he crossed his arms. I want you to summon me occasionally. Truthfully, it will not be me, but a fragment of my power and consciousness. I cannot really be released or summoned without destroying both of us. The fourth Hokage's seal is far too powerful and complex. Though the Kikbi made his offer, but began to drift off as a second idea came to him. That doesn't sound too bad. The though makes me not trust you. Naruto said without fear. Perhaps there is a way for you to draw upon more of my chakra without destroying yourself, the tailed beast mused. Destroying myself? Naruto shouted in alarm. Calling upon too much of my chakra will be damaging to your frail human form. The amount Jiraiya has taught you to call upon is not harmful. The amount you drew upon against Haku is the most your body can contain without burning up your own life to sustain, Kikbi explained. You better figure out a way to fix that, Naruto snapped. It was bad enough that the fox's presence had caused Naruto to be shunned by most of Konoha. Now, he had discovered that using the fox's power could potentially cause him to die. I am not sure how we can surmount this complication, Jinchuriki. I will see what can be done, Kikbi stated. The beast knew that if Naruto died, it would die. I think visiting hours are over. Get ready to make that contract, Naruto snapped as he walked away. The boy didn't want to admit that the fox had made some very tempting offers. The fox summoning contract could be a huge help if Naruto had to do something drastic. Naruto didn't think storming the compound would be necessary. Bachan was the freaking Hokage and could probably finger flick a few of the Hika elders through a wall and convince the rest to let Hinata and Neji go. There was also the fact that Naruto couldn't bear the thought of using the toads, the same toads that had fought alongside the fourth, to fight against Konoha. Naruto was pissed at the Hika for what they were doing to Hinata, but they were still ninja of Konoha. I know my mother's name. Kushina, Naruto whispered to himself as he returned to the real world. He shifted his focus away from the dark thoughts of fighting fellow Konoha ninja to his mother. I wonder what she was like. The young man looked at the clock. It would be several hours before Bachan got to the tower. Naruto had a few options until then. Option 1 revolved around trying to sneak into the Hika compound to see Hinata. That would likely end with a huge fight against the old bastards who had taken over the clan. A huge fight was what he was hoping to avoid. More than anything, Naruto couldn't bear the thought of putting Hinata in any kind of danger. The only other realistic option available for Naruto at 3:45 AM was to have the Kyuubi create the fox summoning contract. Okay, the bastard fox said I needed to make a Rasengan. Naruto said after creating a shadow clone. The chakra sphere formed and took on its normal blue hue. Naruto was about to comment on the fox not holding up its end of the bargain. Suddenly, demonic chakra started seeping from Naruto's pores. The red chakra mingled with the Rasengan. Naruto could not contain his surprise as the sphere elongated and solidified. Is this how summoning scrolls are made? The young genin's natural curiosity had taken over. He watched with awe as the chakra became matter. Gravity exerted its influence and the summoning scroll fell to the ground. Naruto opened the scroll and was surprised by how simply it was. The toad scroll was far more ornate. Here I thought the Lord of Foxes would have a bit more flair. Naruto snorted dismissively. We created the contract from nothingness. Artistry requires concentration and chakra control you do not possess yet, the Kyuubi retorted. Whatever furball, Naruto grunted and ignored the Kyuubi's response. He bit his thumb and signed his name just as he had with the toad scroll. Naruto took a kunai and cut his hand. He slapped his bloody palm onto the scroll. Naruto grinned triumphantly. Let's see if I can do better than a tadpole. Summoning jutsu. There was a flash of smoke and Naruto crossed his fingers. As the smoke cleared, a small reddish fox was sitting on the ground a few feet from Naruto. You have summoned me, the fox asked in a melodious voice. It has legs. It is an honest-to-God fox. I didn't screw up. Naruto jumped up onto his bed and began to dance. Excuse me human, but are you intoxicated? The fox asked while backing away slowly. Naruto stopped his dance and blinked at the fox. And what? Nah, I'm good. I'm just excited. I didn't royally screw up summoning you. You've got legs. What's your name? Naruto blathered. I am Shiboku. The fox greeted Naruto. Is there anything you require? What techniques do you have? Personally, I am skilled in illusions, what you humans refer to as ninjutsu. Shiboku answered. Kick ass. My worst skill is ninjutsu. The two of us teaming up will be awesome. Naruto spoke excitedly. He was rolling on the balls of his feet in anticipation. I just wish I could show Hinata-chan, Naruto thought glumly. The Jinchuriki cast a glance at the table. Why did they only give us 20 minutes? Yudai, you are a fool. The fifth hasn't rescinded the third's laws surrounding the Jinchuriki. You committed a capital offense. Norio Hika hissed. Only the Jinchuriki and the failure heard me. The failure will never leave the compound and the Jinchuriki is an outcast, Yudai said while dismissing the elder's concerns. The Jinchuriki is favored by Tsunade-sama. The Hokage has made her high opinion of Uzumaki Naruto abundantly and publicly clear. Hanako Hika, the lone female elder, said in exasperation. Yudai paled. The elders shook their heads and dismissed the Jonin. Sadao had activated his Byakugan and watched as the Jonin hurried away from the council chambers. We will have to kill Yudai ourselves. I concur. I do not see his removal being a difficult thing to accomplish. He has always been rash and controlled by his passions, Norio agreed. Hanako smirked as an idea formed. We can use Yudai's weak function to our advantage. I will deal with Yudai. This will also give us an opportunity to further sequester the former heiress. Naruto had sent Shiboku back to wherever he had come from and was sitting at his kitchen table. He was smiling for the first time since before Hinata's confession. The smile faltered as he thought about it. It was confusing. Naruto felt lightheaded and incredibly happy that Hinata had told him that she loved him. No one had ever said those three words to Naruto. As happy he was to know that Hinata loved him, Naruto was equally as angry at the Hika. How could they be so cruel? Hinata was one of the kindest and gentlest people Naruto had ever known. She was a determined and skilled ninja, but Naruto couldn't see her fighting her own family. Unless they are worried she'll get rid of the Hika's cursed seal, Naruto admitted to himself. He pushed aside his half-finished instant ramen. The clan elders seemed to be going out their way to punish Hinata and, probably, Niji. Naruto had not forgotten about his other Hika friend's plight, but Niji hadn't confessed that he loved Naruto like Hinata did. Naruto suddenly gagged at that thought and wished he could burn ideas. Focus on Hinata-chan, Naruto mentally commanded himself. He sighed in relief as a far more pleasing image entered his head. I'm going to need a plan. The situation was pretty rough, Naruto admitted to himself. He, until very recently, was Konoha's social pariah. Naruto knew he didn't have enough political clout, future Hokage or not, to simply demand a meeting with the Hyuga. He didn't want to storm the Hyuga compound. Naruto was confident he could get Neji and Hinata out of there if the situation came to that, however he had the toads and the foxes. Heck, Naruto had a deal with the freaking Kyuubi. A fresh wave of fear washed over Naruto. Hinata had heard those two bastards call Naruto the Kyuubi. She knew. She knows Naruto mourned the revelation of his burden. Hinata-chan deserved to know, but not like that. Naruto groaned. How could Naruto face her now? I really need to speak with Ba-chan, Naruto said dejectedly. Why is this so unfair? Naruto slapped his own cheeks. Focus, Naruto. Ba-chan will be in her office in a bit. Moping won't do a damn thing. There was nothing Naruto could accomplish sitting in his apartment. He had to talk to Ba-chan and Iro-senin as soon as possible. Naruto bolted from his apartment and ran through the slowly awakening streets of Konoha. A few times, Naruto was stopped by civilians congratulating him on bringing Tsunade back to the village or for his victory over Neji. It was a strange sensation to be celebrated instead of shunned. If everyone is so happy to see me, then who wrecked my place? Naruto thought. He reached the tower before most of the Hokage's staff. Naruto nearly ran into Hamura Midokado. Sorry, I'm in a bit of a rush, Naruto apologized sheepishly. The elder shrugged at the genin and walked off. Jackass, Naruto mumbled under his breath and jogged up to Tsunade's office. He didn't even bother knocking. Naruto simply pushed open the doors. What are you doing here, Naruto? Tsunade groaned after downing a steaming cup of tea. I've got a couple of huge fucking problems, Naruto hissed. Tsunade glared at Naruto for his language. Alright, Naruto. Tell me your huge problems. I want you to tell me them calmly and without creative adjectives, the Hokage ordered. Naruto took a deep breath and started to recount the events of the last night. He covered almost all the details, but skipped over his deal with the Kyuubi. Tsunade had snapped off part of her desk when Naruto revealed that he had been hit with a 64 palms. Shizune. Tsunade roared. In an instant, her assistant burst into the office. Yes, Hokage-sama? Shizune asked in concern. The Sannin's apprentice had only seen her master this upset once before. A man had tried to cheat her at cards. Go to the Hyuga compound. I want the entire clan council here in 25 minutes. If they are late, I am stripping them of their rank, the fifth Hokage said dangerously. I wasn't sure why Hinako had requested his presence in the branch family section of the compound. He yawned heavily as he rounded the corner. I was annoyed that he had to get up so early. His debriefing had lasted for hours last night. The Hyuga Jonin saw Hinako berating Hinata for something as he entered the hallway. I stopped and waited for the elder to finish disciplining the former heiress. This could take a long time, I thought glumly as he fought the urge to groan. Suddenly, Hinako looked at him and smirked. I felt a wave of apprehension batter him. His paranoia was rewarded when the elder grabbed Hinata's collar and viciously tore at the girl's shirt. What the hell? I shouted in confusion. His shout became a wordless cry of pain. A powerful gentle fist strike had pulped his aorta. I bled to death in seconds. Hinako looked at the dead man for a moment before turning her attention to Hinata. Cover yourself, girl. You have debased yourself enough by having feelings for that thing. Hinata stared in wordless terror at the corpse of Uedai. She covered herself as best she could. Why? Why? Hinako reacted as if Hinata had asked if the elder was actually a woman. I am saving your virtue, of course. The former heiress trembled in fear. She had always known Hinako was devious. This, however, was on a completely different level. Go to your room. If you leave it without my expressed permission, you will be sealed tonight, Hinako threatened. I understand. Hinata acquiesced. She knew just how much of a disadvantage she was in. A large part of her still held on to the hope that Naruto would save her from her fate. If Naruto was to save her and Neji, he would need more time. Hinata felt her face burn in shame as she slunk through the halls. She desperately hoped no one would see her like this. Hinako dispelled her shadow clone and exited the hallway. Today was off to a wonderful start. She strolled through the halls triumphantly. Hinako was informed by a branch servant that the Hokage's majordomo had arrived bearing a scroll with the fifth's personal seal. The elder stood in the back of the great hall and simply observed the proceedings. Shizune unfurled the scroll. By order of the fifth Hokage, Tsunade of the Sannin, all Hyuga councillors must report to the Hokage's tower in 25 minutes or be stripped of their shinobi rank. Most of the Hyuga councillors sped out the door. Hinako calmly approached the Hokage's apprentice and assistant. I will not be able to attend the meeting. There has been a tragic event that must have at least one councillor to contain, the female elder said mournfully. Tell me the situation and I may secure you a reprieve from Tsunade-sama, Shizune responded sharply. Uedai Hyuga attempted to sexually assault Hinata this morning. I killed the criminal with a gentle fist strike. Young Hinata is distraught. The poor thing will need consoling, and I must lead an investigation into how Yudai was in the branch quarters without consent in the first place, Hinako explained. In light of the situation, I will ask Tsunade-sama for leniency. However, you must supply a full report to your Hokage. We will also want access to Hinata-san, Shizune commanded firmly. Of course, Hinako said and bowed. Shizune nodded once before turning on her heels and leaving. Hinako smiled triumphantly. The Haikyuu would not repeat the follies of the Uchiha. They would never plot to rise up against Konoha. Instead, they would secure even greater autonomy inside the village. The next generation would earn even greater political power and prestige. In a few generations, the Haikyuu would be the power in Konoha. Hinako smiled at the dream of the Hokage becoming a hereditary Haikyuu position. She sighed regretfully as she acknowledged that she would not live to see the first Haikyuu Hokage. Hinako contented herself with the knowledge she was laying the groundwork for her clan's future golden age. She took a single sharp breath and steeled herself. There was a great deal of work to be done. Chapter 4. Preemptive author's note. Please vote in my poll. Naruto paced just outside the Hokage's office. Bachan had asked Naruto to leave after she had ordered Shizune to get the Haikyuu elders. It had taken all of Naruto's self-control not to point and laugh at the exhausted Haikyuu elders. Serves them right, Naruto thought behind a grin. After basking in his amusement for a moment, Naruto couldn't stave off his boredom any longer. He flopped down on the sofa outside of the office and thought about what he needed to accomplish. There was the obvious goal of rescuing Hinata and Neji. Naruto was hoping Tsunade could handle the Haikyuu elders and get Hinata back. Unfortunately, that brought up a problem for Naruto. How am I going to talk to her about the Kikbi? Naruto groaned at the thought. Naruto's other concerns seemed minor in comparison. He had to give Tenten Tsunade's autograph. That, Naruto thought, wasn't a half-bad idea. Naruto could deliver the autograph and let Tenten know that Tsunade would help out Neji. I should probably check in with Kakashi-sensei. Naruto chewed over the thought as he cast a curious glance at the door to Bachan's office. Shizune Nichan, Naruto spoke up. Tsunade's assistant had been sitting quietly across the room from Naruto the entire time. Shizune had explicit orders to make sure Naruto didn't fly off the handle and fight the entire Haikyuu clan. Yes, Naruto? Shizune asked. Do you know how long that meeting will take? I want to be here when it ends, but there is a bunch of stuff I need to take care of, too, Naruto explained. You can just use shadow clones to finish your errands, Shizune assured Naruto. I guess, but I don't want to have a dozen shadow clones storming back here and filling me in on how everything went, Naruto grunted out. No one has ever told you about the memory transfer aspect of shadow clones. The Hokage's assistant asked in shock. The what? The young man asked in equal shock. Those two words were all Shizune needed to hear. What the heck have Jiraiya-sama and Kakashi-senpai been teaching Naruto? I know Jiraiya has taught him the Rasengan and summoning, but has there been anything else? Shizune began to explain how shadow clones transferred memories to the creator after the clones were dispelled. Naruto's face lit up with excitement at all the possibilities. Shizune smiled at the boy's reaction. She realized she found teaching to be pleasant. That is so cool. I can get everything done now, Naruto said excitedly. Naruto-kun, you can't try to sneak into the Haikyuu compound, the Sanin's apprentice cut off Naruto's train of thought. Naruto pouted a bit before nodding. I should probably trust Bachan to take care of everything, Naruto agreed, though with some reluctance. The young shinobi created a few shadow clones. Alright, listen up, Naruto commanded. The shadow clones turned their attention to their creator. One, however, kept his ear pressed against the door in a ham-fisted attempt to listen in on Tsunade's meeting. Naruto pointed at the clone at the door. You stay here and listen in, the original said sharply. I want you on the left to go give Tenten Tsunade's autograph and fill her in on what's going on. Finally, you on the right, go find Kakashi-sensei and check in with him. I'm going to see Iruka-sensei. Shizune shook her head at the amusing antics. She could say many things about Uzumaki Naruto, but Shizune would never call him boring. Please try to stay out of trouble, Naruto-kun, Shizune pleaded. Can't make any promises, Naruto shouted cheekily as he rushed out of the Hokage's tower. The majordomo for the Hokage didn't know whether she should laugh or groan. She settled for an amused head shake as she watched Naruto run down the stairs. Hinata-sama. May I come in? Neji asked as he stood outside of Hinata's room. Hinata slid the door open and smiled softly. Neji Nai-san, I am no longer heiress. Socially, we are equals, Hinata reminded her cousin. I will always call you Hinata-sama. If it was not for you and Naruto, I would be trapped within my own darkness forever, Neji countered. I just wanted my big brother back, Hinata said softly. Please come in, Neji Nai-san. Neji followed Hinata into her Spartan quarters. Hinata motioned gracefully to one of the few chairs. She was no longer the heiress, but the years of etiquette training ensured that Hinata would always be a gracious hostess. "Thank you, Hinata-sama," Niji said formally. Hinata could not decide how she should truly act around Niji. Hinata could still remember the horrible pain Niji's words and strikes had inflicted in the chunin exam preliminaries. Only a few days ago, she was his societal superior. Yet, she had been reaching out to him for so long. Hinata's greatest dream had always been for Naruto to return her feelings. However, she had also dreamed of repairing her relationships with Niji and her father a great deal. Unable to reconcile her emotional confusion, Hinata made a bold decision. She would treat Niji as the brother she had always wished for. "You are welcome, Niji Nai-san," Hinata replied with involuntary formality. She caught herself and shook her head. "I heard from Shoichi what happened earlier today," Niji said darkly. "I am glad you escaped unharmed and with your virtue intact. You and I will not be mourned by the cadet branch. His attack on you was the latest in a long line of abuses." "Niji Nai-san Yudai," Hinata stammered. She was afraid of what Hinako would do if she discovered Hinata had revealed the truth to anyone. "What he did was," Niji said as he rose from the chair. "I will begin to make amends," Hinata-sama, Niji thought earnestly. "He was murdered, Niji Nai-san." He didn't even touch me," Hinata whispered. Niji quirked his eyebrow in confusion. "I don't know why Hinako did it, but she killed Yudai-san and made the claim he tried to assault me." "Are you sure, Hinata-sama?" Niji asked. "Yudai was not subtle in describing his attraction towards you." Hinata shuddered as she remembered the time she had overheard Yudai's drunken ramble. That had not been a pleasant night. Hinata had been sneaking out of her room to get a late-night snack. Instead of a quick bite to eat, she had to hide and listen to three men drunkenly complain about Hiashi being soft on the branch house and describe her body in ways she never wanted to hear. It was a terrible night. "I'm sure," Hinata said in a small voice. "It would be easy to convince the clan that Yudai attempted such a vile act. But why would an elder kill him like that?" Niji quizzed Hinata. He wasn't sure if she was simply traumatized or if there actually was a larger conspiracy afoot. Hinako was known to be both shrewd and devious. A larger conspiracy against Hiashi-sama would not be out of the question. "I don't know, but I think it was because he ordered Junichi to attack Naruto last night," Hinata suggested nervously. "Tsunade-sama is close to Naruto. The clan was probably terrified of the Hokage's wrath." "That is reasonable," Hinata confessed. She did not want to mention the Kikbi. It was true that Naruto was born the day the Kikbi had attacked the village. But to claim Naruto had been tapping the Kikbi's chakra. That was impossible. Wasn't it? "I need to talk to Naruto. I just want to hear his voice. I just want to see him smile," Hinata thought painfully. "Did you confess your feelings, Hinata-sama?" Niji decided to change the subject. "I did, Nai-san. Though, I feel like I've replaced one weight with another," Hinata revealed. "Do you believe in Naruto?" Niji asked. Hinata looked up in shock. Niji simply repeated his question. "Completely," Hinata said with absolute conviction. "Then have faith that he will find a way to stop this travesty from occurring," Niji reassured his cousin. "Thank you, Niji. It's just everything seems so surreal," Hinata sighed. "I know Naruto-kun will find a way to make this right." "Indeed, Hinata-sama. Naruto has the Hokage's favor and, if that fails, is just as likely to charge the compound challenging all the elders to a duel," Niji said with an amused gleam in his eye. Hinata took a moment and pictured Niji's idea. She immediately blushed and started giggling. "I wouldn't put it past Naruto-kun to do something so chivalrously rash," Hinata confessed. "Mogi-chan, do you know where Naruto's minion is?" Hanabi asked in annoyance. She had been looking for Konohamaru all day. "You mean Konohamaru-chan or Yuden-chan? Those two slackers are skipping class again." Mogi moaned. "Don't they only skip to jutsu class?" Hanabi asked. Mogi shook her head and started to giggle. "I think they're tired of losing to us," Mogi said in between giggles. "True, but I need to ask him a favor," Hanabi ground out. "You need to ask me a favor?" Konohamaru suddenly asked. The honorable grandson hopped down from a nearby tree. His best friend, Yuden, slowly climbed down after him. "I don't really need the favor, but I need you to deliver something to your boss," Hanabi said slowly. Konohamaru tried Hanabi's patience. "Don't tell me another Haika has a crush on the boss." Konohamaru shouted in awe. He turned to Yuden. "See, I told you becoming a minion would have benefits. We'll get chicks from awesome clans." Mogi, from the Udatane clan, and Hanabi, from the Haika clan, simply rolled their eyes. "Idiot," Hanabi muttered under her breath. "Look, give this to Naruto-san. If you open it, I'll can you back to the founding." "Wow, you really want to keep your love letter secret, don't you?" Konohamaru asked while rubbing his chin. "Idiot. It's my sister's. Not mine." Hanabi shouted in exasperation. "Sure, whatever. I'll give it to him," Konohamaru promised somewhat dismissively. He and Yuden started to leave again. "And where do you think you two are going?" Mogi asked pointedly. Nowhere. Yuden responded nervously. You guys are skipping again. Mogi shouted at her friends. Yuden and Konohamaru laughed nervously. You call yourselves Naruto-san's minions. Didn't you know that Naruto-san never skipped a jutsu class? Hanabi demanded. Wow, you know about the boss. Are you sure that love letter isn't yours? Konohamaru asked dumbly. Hanabi swallowed back an exasperated scream before counting backwards from 5. My sister is the one who loves Naruto-san. I've never even talked with him, Hanabi said as evenly as she could. Konohamaru and Yuden shared a drawn-out "oh" and nodded. That made more sense. Well, Yuden and I will go find the boss and give him this. It's obviously important, Konohamaru quickly spoke in an attempt to get away. Don't even think about it. If my brother-in-law is going to have minions, I want to make sure they are competent. Hanabi shouted and crossed her arms. Mogi nodded in agreement. Yuden and Konohamaru gulped fearfully. Mogi grabbed Konohamaru and Hanabi grabbed Yuden. The boys knew they were at the mercy of the girls and simply accepted their fate. Hanabi-chan, you said brother-in-law, your sister and the boss aren't married yet, are they? Mogi asked. Yet, Hanabi answered in a sing-song voice. Iruka sat at his desk and reveled in the silence of the classroom. He loved teaching, but there were times he just wanted to enjoy a peaceful silence. Iruka had been thrilled to hand off to jutsu instruction to Yanai-sensei. The young teacher finished off the last quiz and leaned back in his chair. He was looking forward to grabbing a drink or two tonight. Iruka suddenly shot forward when the window opened. Iruka-sensei, I need to talk to you about something, Naruto said nervously as he looked around the empty classroom. What about Naruto? Iruka asked casually. How long before the class comes back? Naruto questioned. Iruka was struck by how pensive his favorite student was at the moment. They aren't to jutsu class. We have time to talk, Iruka assured Naruto. The Hokage aspirant looked towards the back row. Iruka was patient and allowed the young man to gather his thoughts. It was unusual to see Naruto like this. Clearly, the subject was extremely important to Naruto. Iruka was grateful that Naruto trusted him enough to share his concerns. Where is the line between like and love? Naruto finally asked. I can't teach you where the line is, Naruto. You have to discover it for yourself, Iruka explained. What? Naruto asked in total shock. You're the greatest teacher ever. How can you not teach me something? Naruto wasn't panicking, but his emotions were definitely about to run wild. He needed to sort his head out. Thank you for your faith, Naruto. But this isn't something I can teach you. I've personally never found where my own line between like and love is. Can you explain why you like the taste of ramen to someone who has never had it? Iruka tried to point Naruto in the right direction. No, but I have to figure it out. If I don't figure it out soon, I'll lose my shot at this. Iruka-sensei, I haven't needed your help like this since the day I found out about the fox. Naruto shouted. Iruka saw the cascade of panic, hope, confusion, and nearly a dozen other emotions play across Naruto's face. Okay, I understand. I'll need a minute, Iruka said in an attempt to calm Naruto. Let me tell my class something and I'll be back. I promise, Naruto. Naruto could only nod as he watched Iruka exit the classroom. How much should I tell him? Naruto questioned himself. Suddenly, the memories of the clone who visited Tenten filtered into his mind. The happiness the news and the autograph brought Tenten helped ease the storm of Naruto's rolling emotions. Listen up, class. Iruka's announcement drew Naruto's attention from his thoughts. I was so impressed by your quiz scores that I have decided to let you go home early. Naruto laughed when the class started cheering. He nearly choked when he heard Konohamaru shout something about escaping from crazy Haiku women. Hinata-chan has a sister. Maybe I can talk with her and find out what's going on. Naruto started to head to the door when he heard Konohamaru ask Iruka to give Naruto something. Iruka thanked Konohamaru and started to head back to the classroom. Konohamaru said you might be interested in this. He said Hanabi claims it's from Hinata, Iruka said as he entered the classroom holding an envelope. Naruto erupted from his perch and snatched the envelope from the teacher's hand. Iruka observed as Naruto tore into the envelope like a starving man would tear into a loaf of bread. Naruto read the letter as if his very soul depended on memorizing every pen stroke. Iruka-sensei, can you help me write a response to Hinata-chan? I wasn't the best at that sort of thing in the academy, Naruto asked in the closest to a pleading tone he had ever used. I'll help you, Naruto. Before we start with that, I need you to tell me what's going on, Iruka said in a firm but friendly tone. Naruto looked up and gulped. That got Iruka's attention. Only if you swear not to tell anyone. Not even Ba-chan. Naruto shouted. The intensity in Naruto's voice demanded that Iruka agree. He had kept secrets for his students before. However, in his gut, he knew this would be the greatest secret he had ever kept. I promise, Iruka said solemnly. Naruto took a deep breath before launching into the story of the previous night. Haruka was frozen in place when Naruto revealed Hinata's confession. The teacher had always known that the Hyuga heiress harbored some feelings for his favorite student, but he never knew the true depths of the girl's feelings. It almost made him reconsider his stance of not getting involved in the romantic lives of his students. Almost every case was the typical fangirl love of the rookie of the year. Haruka didn't want to encourage that sort of shallow infatuation. However, if there were more cases like Hinata and Naruto, Haruka might take a more active role. "And how do you feel about Hinata, Naruto?" Haruka spoke up for the first time since Naruto began. "I don't know. Hinata-chan is responsible for me beating Neji. I was feeling pretty hopeless before that match. If Hinata-chan hadn't spoken to me, I wouldn't have won. Knowing that someone had so much faith in me made me feel lightheaded. Then, when I was going after Bachan with Iro-senin, I couldn't stop thinking about her. I needed to know if she was okay. Then I finally figured out she liked me, and there was a part of me that wanted to run back to Konoha and ask her if it was true. Took me long enough to figure that out, didn't it? I should have known after Hinata-chan's fight with Neji. Did you know that seeing her stand up and refuse to give in to Neji's mind games was the most beautiful thing I've ever seen?" Naruto rambled a bit. "Naruto, it sounds like you are coming close to discovering where your line is," Haruka commented. Naruto looked up and smiled faintly. Haruka returned the smile and motioned for Naruto to continue. The young man took several deep breaths and told Haruka how the Hyuga guards used 64 palms against Naruto. Haruka went pale with fear and rage. Naruto missed the expression because he was explaining Hiyashi's letter. "After that, I spoke with the Kyubi," Naruto admitted. What? Haruka spat out in utter shock. "We, kind of made a deal. I created a summoning scroll for the fox demons. I even managed to summon Shiboku. He had legs and everything," Naruto said with rising enthusiasm. "Naruto. You can't trust the Kyubi," Haruka hissed in alarm. He was very concerned for Naruto's safety. "There's no way I'm going to trust a furball," Naruto said simply. "I'm hurt, Jinchuriki. Here I thought we had an understanding," the Kyubi moaned in false offense. "Shut it, furball, I still haven't forgiven you for trying to eat me," Naruto shot back. "I know I promised not to tell anyone, but Naruto, this is dangerous. It's the Kyubi." Haruka started to explain, but the memories of that horrible night drew his attention away from his student. "Haruka-sensei, I swear I'll never lose control of the Kyubi. That bastard fox has to obey me. Which means, he's staying behind the seal," Naruto said with almost venomous emphasis on the last part of his declaration. "Naruto, are you talking to it?" Haruka asked nervously. "No, I was just reminding the bastard of its place," Naruto promised. "I have never needed a drink so bad in my life," Haruka mentally sighed. "Naruto, I'm not going to lie, I don't like the fact you have made a deal with the Kyubi. I'm going to be keeping an eye on you. I don't want you to be put in danger." "I know," Naruto said quietly. "We can talk more about this later. Right now, let's get started on that letter," Haruka quickly changed the subject. "Okay, Haruka-sensei," Naruto accepted his teacher's words at face value. "First, is there anything you want to tell Hinata?" Haruka prodded. "Well, I want to tell Hinata-chan a lot of things, but I want to tell her. She deserves for me to tell her, but not through a letter," Naruto said after a moment's thought. "That's surprisingly romantic, Naruto. Let's start by saying how much you miss her," Haruka explained. Naruto put ink on his pen. "Alright, treat calligraphy like a kata. Take your time and be precise. You wouldn't rush a kata, and this is just as important as any kata, possibly more so." The boy nodded and took his time. He was not going to screw this up. Haruka nodded as Naruto finished the sentence. The teacher had suggested a somewhat neutral opening topic so that he could critique Naruto's writing without stumbling upon something very personal. "Very good, Naruto. I'm sure this letter will make Hinata very happy," Haruka congratulated Naruto. Naruto looked up and smiled before going back and painstakingly starting a new sentence. "I think they might really love each other. If anyone deserves to find love, it's those two," Haruka thought as he watched Naruto pour his heart out onto the paper. He just prayed Naruto and Hinata would be given the chance to discover the depths of their feelings. "Hokage-sama, you have to fix this. I don't know what Naruto would do if he lost her now." 618. Chapter 5. Naruto was sitting on a branch of a tree outside the academy trying to just calm down. The boy's emotions were still on a roller coaster that hadn't even begun to slow down. Naruto was well aware that his emotions wouldn't probably settle back to their natural state until Neji and Hinata were freed from the Hyuga compound. "At least try to look like nothing's wrong," Naruto tried to convince himself. It failed utterly. He found himself craving the familiar. Naruto's first thought was to head to Ichiraku and see if Tucci could whip up the usual. Strangely, Naruto's body rejected the idea. "Gah, I really am messed up. I don't want ramen." Naruto felt a tingling sensation at the base of his brain. One of his shadow clones had just dispelled. Much to the original's disappointment, the clone had not been the lone sentry in the Hokage's office. Kakashi had dispelled the clone with 1,000 years of pain. Evidently, the shadow clone had grown impatient and grabbed one of Kakashi's precious copies of Iro Sennin Smut and tossed it out of the room. The clone had been in the middle of demanding when Team 7 would start training when Kakashi had struck. Naruto sighed as he remembered Kakashi's words. "You were very hasty today, Naruto." Konoha's number 1 knucklehead ninja sighed as he realized how right his Jonin instructor actually was. The short lifespan of a shadow clone amplified the emotions of the creator. It was only natural that Naruto's anxiety of the situation with Hinata and Neji would be reflected in the clone's behavior. Naruto wasn't only worried about their imprisonment. The Jinchuriki, selfishly he thought, was terrified that Hinata's love would evaporate now that she knew the truth of his status as the container of the Kikbi. Naruto was well aware that the Hikage Council would spin a web of lies that would discredit Naruto. Naruto's only hope was that Hinata would go to her father first. "This sucks," Naruto moaned. He had to sort out his head. Unfortunately, the only way Naruto knew how to get his ducks in a row was to directly speak with Hinata. She had a way with her words. Naruto remembered how Hinata had filled him with confidence before his battle with Neji. He also remembered how he had realized that Hinata liked him instead of merely liking him. It had been during his training to master the Rasengan. Naruto had been feeling down about his inability to master the fourth technique. His mind wandered back to Hinata's speech. Strangely, he had kept focusing on intense feelings of the heart. Naruto was blindsided by just how obvious Hinata's hints had truly been. Granted, Naruto had never been truly observant until traveling with Jiraiya. The old pervert had spent almost as much time teaching Naruto fieldcraft as the Rasengan. "I'm confused as all hell," Naruto said as he jumped down from the tree branch. He hated moping. Naruto needed a short-term goal that he could achieve. The letter to Hinata was still in his pocket. Naruto placed a hand over the letter. He was relieved to note that it wasn't wrinkled. An objective was forming in his head and Naruto smiled at the mental comfort. "Let's go," Naruto said to himself. "This is what you do?" Hanabi scoffed as Yuden handed Konohamaru a very soggy bag of fruit. "Stupid pranks. For your information, these stupid pranks are valuable training exercises. They also help us get back at stuck-up pricks." Konohamaru said indignantly after giving the bag of fruit an appraising heft. "You are a member of one of Konoha's most respected clans. I can't believe you would stoop to this." Hanabi shook her head as she spoke. Her gaze settled on Mogi. "Please tell me you're the voice of reason. Mogi-san, I pray you are going to tell your friends that they shouldn't put rotten fruit in Precinct Warden Fukazawa's attic." "This isn't just a prank, Hanabi-chan. Fukazawa filed a fudged mission report to the Hokage and cheated Team Masamoto out of a D rank," Mogi explained. Hanabi couldn't believe someone could be so cheap as to weasel out of a D rank. Yuden nodded and explained what happened. "So, this is some kind of social justice thing?" Hanabi asked. She was actually a bit impressed by the prank now. Konohamaru didn't fail to notice Hanabi's change in opinion. Absolutely. We do this kind thing all the time. I'm all about social justice." "You're just saying that cause you're starting to crush on Hanabi," Mogi said with a laugh. Konohamaru went bright red and started mumbling a string of half-hearted denials. "Wow, I don't think I've seen anyone blush that much since Hinata-chan during the first test of the chunin exams," Naruto said from behind Yuden. The boy with the eternally runny nose yelped and scrambled away. Hanabi and Mogi also jumped in surprise. Konohamaru had trained with Naruto enough to know how truly stealthy Naruto was. "Yo, boss." Konohamaru practically shouted in relief. The honorable grandson was grateful for the change in focus. He had never thought of Hanabi like that before. The fact that a good chunk of his brain thought it was a good idea worried him a bit. Naruto looked at the bag and shook his head. "If you're going for a stink prank, rotting fruit doesn't work very well. You want cabbage for that kind of prank," Naruto explained. Mogi pulled out a pink journal and took notes. "This is more of a social justice experiment, Naruto-san," Hanabi said. Naruto raised an eyebrow and said with undeniable eloquence, "Would sit no." Hanabi sighed. This was her first time meeting Naruto, and she had no idea what to make of the object of her One-chan's affections. Naruto had sneaked up on them easily enough. Unfortunately, Hanabi's explanation had soared right over his head. Hanabi explained Konohamaru and his friend's plan to Naruto. The only official genin present nodded approvingly. "So, you're playing off old Fugu's fear of flies. That'll work nicely. It's mostly harmless and it'll force him to request a few D ranks to clear out the house. Good job kiddos," Naruto said approvingly. "Thanks boss." Konohamaru, Mogi and Yuden said as one. Naruto smiled warmly. Hanabi had caught Naruto's tone. She knew it probably wasn't intentional, but Naruto had used a tone her father had used to motivate members of the clan. Back when he was still clan head. In spite of herself, she looked away. "Hanabi, can I borrow you a minute?" Naruto asked suddenly. The young Hyuga turned her attention back to the orange-clad ninja. Instinctively, she tensed. Naruto's eyes had a determined sheen to them. Hanabi felt like she was staring into an unmolested frozen pond. Sure, she replied, unsure of what Naruto wanted. Naruto got up from his crouching position and walked off to the side. Hanabi read his body language and saw the purpose in his stride. Naruto's boasting about becoming Hokage was well known in all circles of Konoha society. Hanabi had, like many others, doubted his chances. That was before Naruto defeated Neji. That was before she saw the endless well of determination he possessed. No wonder One-chan fell so hopelessly in love with him, Hanabi thought to herself. She joined Naruto off to the side. Hanabi, you are the only one who I can trust with this task, Naruto started speaking. Hanabi realized that if he asked her to infiltrate Kumo and assassinate the Raikage, she would probably swear to do her best. Instead, Naruto simply reached into his jacket's internal pocket and pulled out an envelope. Please, make sure Hinata-chan gets this letter. And tell her. Naruto took a moment to compose himself. Tell her I haven't stopped thinking about her. Hanabi nodded and carefully put the letter away in her pack. She smiled. I believe you'll do it, Naruto-san. Huh? The leader of men was gone and the social novice had returned. Become Hokage, Hanabi said with complete honesty. I'll give One-chan the letter. She'll be thrilled. Thank you, Naruto said before walking off with a wave. Hanabi rejoined the other academy students as they prepared for their social justice experiment. So you think my Byakugan will help? Hanabi asked. Sakura was humming as she walked down the street. Last night had been a very good night. She had spent most of the day talking with and running errands for Sasuke-kun. Sakura was amazed, happy but amazed that Sasuke-kun had taken an active role in the conversation. He didn't call her annoying or bring up the battle against Orochimaru. The nurses had escorted Sakura out of the hospital after visiting hours ended but had been very friendly. At home, her parents hadn't been fighting. Sakura's parents fought more than Sakura would ever like to admit. Her dad was one of Konoha's civilian merchants and often was on trade excursions to other cities. For the first time since the chunin exams, Sakura spent the night thinking about how her life was finally back in order. Hey. Sakura-chan. Naruto suddenly shouted. Sakura sighed. It was too early for Naruto's overenthusiastic attempts to ask her for a date. Hello, Naruto, Sakura said warmly. She may not want him to ask her out, but Naruto was still a good friend and teammate. Got a question, Naruto said while scratching the back of his head. The lone Kunoichi of Team 7's first instinct was to shout about how she wasn't going to go out with Naruto. However, there was something about his tone and look in his eyes. Sakura decided to give him the benefit of the doubt. Ask away, but keep walking. Visiting hours start in a few minutes. I brought Sasuke-kun breakfast from Kenji's. He mentioned how glad he was that it wasn't destroyed in Orochimaru's invasion, Sakura said while shifting the bag she was carrying. Sasuke will be released today. Bachan is the best medic nin in the world. I'm shocked they didn't release him yesterday, Naruto responded with absolute confidence. Bachan? Sakura asked in surprise. Bachan, Naruto answered as if his answer was the most obvious in the entire world. Wait, Sakura's voice trailed off as realization dawned on her. Tsunade-sama. Yeah, but mind if I ask that question? Naruto ignored Sakura's outburst. Sakura took a calming breath and nodded. Do you think Sasuke has flaws? Naruto's question took Sakura completely by surprise. The surprise was so great she actually came to a complete halt. Flaws? Sasuke-kun? Sakura asked. Naruto simply nodded. He doesn't have very many. Right, but you would accept them, right? Naruto pressed. I can't see Sasuke-kun being flawed, Sakura answered honestly. Naruto nodded. Hinata-chan accepted mine, he said very small voice. What was that, Naruto? I'll explain when we get to Sasuke's room. There's a lot more I need you guys' help with. Last night, except for 20 minutes, was the second worst night of my life, Naruto answered in a nearly broken voice. Oh, I'm sorry, Naruto. I'll definitely do what I can to help and I'm sure Sasuke-kun will as well, Sakura comforted her teammate. She had never heard Naruto so down before. In fact, she didn't believe it was possible for Naruto to be down on himself. He'll be back to normal after talking with us. Everything will be back to normal soon, Sakura thought to herself. Thanks, Sakura-chan. I have a hypothetical situation, Naruto continued the conversation as the hospital came into view. I have a hypothetical solution, Sakura shot back playfully. Say guy you really like, Naruto began. Sasuke-kun? Sure, let's go with that, the Toad Summoner said flatly. Say in this scenario, your family didn't like the guy at all. Sakura noticed that Naruto was wearing the same smile he had when he declared let's get wild. Before the attack on Zabuza. He was planning something big. Sakura wasn't sure if she should be trying to talk Naruto out of whatever the plan was or encourage him. What about this hypothetical guy? Why doesn't my hypothetical family like him? Does he hypothetically like me as well? Sakura asked. Hypothetically? Naruto counter-asked. Sakura nodded and the look in her eyes made it clear she was curious about what Naruto was getting at. Well, hypothetically, the family thinks he's some kind of troublemaker with no standing. And? Naruto sighed. His mind was still racing from last night. The past couple of months had been one solid emotional roller coaster. He's not sure. This hypothetical guy hasn't really had many people get this close before. Anyway, if this guy were to try to sneak in to see you, what should he bring? That's what you were going to ask. Sakura said as she stepped in front of Naruto. Yeah? Naruto responded as neutrally as possible. That's so romantic. Sakura squealed. Flowers. Definitely flowers. If this girl was me, I'd like dumplings. Flowers, got it, Naruto responded. The two friends resumed their walk towards the hospital. A pair of nurses waved to them as Sakura and Naruto entered the elevator. The pair were silent as the elevator took them to Sasuke's floor. Why did you come up with scenario? Sakura asked. Naruto hadn't expected her to ask that question. Well, not until they entered Sasuke's hospital room. Naruto needed more time to plan how he was going to explain everything to his teammates. Hiro-senin writes books and I wanted to, write my own. But I refused to write smut like he does so. You're writing a book? The pincat perked up. Naruto nodded nervously. You have to get me a copy when you finish it. That, Naruto thought, was the last thing he ever expected to hear. Iruka sighed in annoyance at his drink. The bar was relatively empty and the academy teacher needed a target for his frustrations. His conversation with Naruto had sent Iruka into a near frenzy. Neji and Hinata had been his former students, but they weren't the only Haikyuu Iruka had lost contact with. Currently, there were 5 Haikyuu in the academy. The only Haikyuu whose well-being Iruka was sure of was Hanabi. Iruka was pleased to see the probable rookie of the year was safe. Though, Iruka thought as he downed the remainder of his alcohol, she was clearly upset. The academy teacher had immediately thought the worst. The other Haikyuu students were all branch family members. Had there been a purge or uprising? Iruka thought momentarily before shaking off that thought. Truthfully, the damages from Orochimaru's invasion were likely the cause. Isn't it a bit early for this sort of thing? A voice floated from behind him. Iruka turned around and lifted his empty glass. Hello, Anko-san, Iruka said politely before putting down the glass and motioning for another drink. After today, I need a drink. The Hokage sent you out on a mission. I didn't realize we were that hard-pressed, Anko said as she sat down. The Hokage didn't. I've been trying to find out what the Haikyuu are up to. They've pulled almost all their students from the academy and several of my former students haven't been seen in a while. I've been looking into that and I've visited a few families of former students. We lost a lot of good, young, ninja in the invasion. Iruka's voice grew more distant as he spoke of his former students. I didn't think we lost any academy students in the invasion, Anko said. We didn't, but I still lost 13 students. Iruka growled and tightened his grip on his glass. Anko couldn't help but smile sadly at the man. He clearly loved his students. If the very concept of a teacher ever took physical form, it would probably become Yumi no Iruka. They were ninja and were prepared for the risks, Anko pointed out. It still doesn't change the fact that 13 of my students are dead, Iruka said angrily. You're a good man, Yumi no Iruka. Anko said sincerely. You're a hell of a woman, Iruka responded without hesitation. He immediately tensed and gulped. Oh god, I said that out loud. Anko felt a bit of a blush on her cheeks. All traces of sadness left her smile as she rested her hands under her chin and leaned forward. You said it out loud. Well, at least I don't have to work as hard to get you drunk so I can take advantage of you, Anko practically purred. Iruka closed his eyes and took a deep breath. He reached over the bar and grabbed a second glass and a bottle of an expensive alcohol. The academy teacher poured Anko a glass before refilling his own. Iruka looked down the bar and motioned to the bartender. Sadao, I'll get another bottle of this stuff for you later. Sadao nodded. Alright. I don't know where you get it, but everyone loves that stuff. Grandma wants some more. I'll get it before her birthday next month, Iruka assured his older cousin. You two related? Anko asked. Yeah, Sadao's my older cousin. I like it here because if I'm having a really bad or a really good night I can just bum a cot and sleep it off, Iruka explained. Oh really now? Anko was very interested about that last bit of information. Hell no. If you two are going to go at it, take her to your place, Iruka. Sadao shouted. Fine, fine, Iruka groaned and downed his drink. So Anko said after matching Iruka's downing. Is this a really bad or really good day? Ask me tomorrow morning, Iruka said honestly. I plan on it, Anko smiled broadly. Sasuke stared out the window and into the village. What the hell have I been doing? The last loyal Uchiha found himself asking the same question over and over again. Had all his hard work and struggles been for naught? The gap separating Sasuke from Itachi was still a yawning chasm. Sasuke had made no progress at all. Only Naruto has made any progress. How is it that a clanless run can grow in power while I and Uchiha remain stagnant? Sasuke's hand found its way to Orochimaru's seal. A Sannin, that was the answer. Naruto had somehow convinced a Sannin to train him. That was the only explanation. Sasuke and Naruto had worked equally hard in their own training. Hard work could only get one so far. The Hinata that Naruto defeated in the chunin exam finals had partially been correct. Certain individuals were born with the potential for greatness. However, natural ability was merely ore. It had to be refined through hard work. The dedication to self-improvement is one of the positive traits Sasuke acknowledged in Naruto and that ridiculous Rock Lee. The introspective mental rambling was interrupted by the lilting laughter of Sakura and the enthusiastic voice of Naruto. Sasuke withdrew his hand from his neck and felt the conflict within him. He truly lacked hatred. A part of Sasuke refused to cut the bonds with his teammates. Naruto and Sakura were threatening to fill the void left by the murder of his family. There were times where Sasuke seriously considered foregoing his revenge and remaining in Konoha. But those bonds were holding him back. The bonds were preventing Sasuke from having a singular focus on the pursuit of power. Sacrifices must be made. Look. I told you that Sasuke would be up and ready to go. Naruto said excitedly as he pushed his way into Sasuke's room. Hello, Sasuke-kun. We brought you breakfast, Sakura said as she offered a bag. Sasuke nodded and accepted the bag. As he chewed on an onigiri, he felt the weakness of attachment worm its way forward. So, Naruto, what is it you wanted to talk about? Sakura spoke and cut off Sasuke's dark thoughts. Sasuke, is there a way for the Hokage to get involved in clan affairs? Naruto asked. Naruto's quiet tone of voice shocked the Uchiha. You have no clan, Sasuke stated simply. I'm not asking for me the Hinata they are going to place that seal of theirs on Hinata-chan. I need to know a way to stop them, Naruto pleaded with his best friend. Hinata-chan. The other two members of Team 7 thought in shock. Naruto had only ever added Chan to Sakura's name. The Hokage can't and should never get involved in clan matters, Sasuke said firmly. How can you say that? Naruto asked in shock. Because I don't want to see a civil war. Sasuke shouted. If the Hokage interferes in one clan's affairs, she can interfere in all of them. All clans value their autonomy. The Hokage getting involved and running roughshod over their rights would probably lead to the clans revolting or simply leaving Konoha. Sasuke-kun, shouldn't they make an exception in this case? Sakura asked. Should they? Maybe, but we can't risk the clans losing faith in the village, especially not now. The invasion showed us we were not as strong as we thought we were. Konoha needs to look inwards to strengthen itself, everything else should be secondary, Sasuke said firmly. Sakura frowned as she wondered if Sasuke's words were about Konoha or himself. Is this what you wanted to talk to us about? Sakura decided to steer the conversation in a positive direction. Yeah, this all started last night, Naruto admitted. He launched into a carefully worded version of the previous night's events. Sasuke's face remained strangely passive. Sakura, for her part, understood Hinata's feelings. If she was in the same horrific situation, Sakura would have wanted to pour her heart out to Sasuke. The troubling thought entered Sakura's mind as soon as the previous thought had fired in her mind. Would Sasuke-kun be doing for me what Naruto is doing for Hinata? You really refuse to give up, no matter the situation. Sasuke asked after Naruto finished the tale. I won't give up or go back on my word, ever, Naruto responded to Sasuke's question with utter conviction. Then fight me, Sasuke shot out. Naruto stared at Sasuke for a moment. Well. Isn't this what you want? My acknowledgement. Naruto started to speak. He wore a smile of triumph, but a sense of urgency replaced it quickly. I want to fight you, I truly do, but I have to go. Bachan just finished chewing out those old Hinata bastards. That can wait. Sasuke shouted as Naruto jumped over Sasuke's bed. The last Uchiha was scrambling from his bed as Naruto landed on the windowsill. I'm sorry, Sasuke, but I have to find out what's going on. I promise when we fight, it'll be one Konoha never forgets. Naruto responded as he hopped out of the window. How can he be leaving me behind? What has he done to deserve all that strength? Sasuke raged. Sasuke-kun, please calm down. Naruto isn't leaving you behind. You are his best friend. Sakura pleaded with her teammate and the object of her affections. Please, Sasuke-kun. Sasuke felt that his Sharingan had awakened and Orochimaru's cursed seal was flaring to life in response to his rage. The power was intoxicating. It's responding to the second time a brother has abandoned me. Sasuke was devastated by the realization. We will settle this, Naruto. We will find the truth of ourselves, the last Uchiha said in an icy tone. Naruto burst through the doors to the Hokage's tower and immediately made a beeline for Bachan's office. Shizune was waiting outside of Tsunade's office. I told the clone to dispel. The meeting is nearly over. I wanted the real you to be here when it ended, Shizune said in a sisterly tone. Thanks, Shizune Ni-chan. Naruto's response acknowledged both the sisterly tone and his own view on his relationship with the Hokage's assistant. Do you think Bachan has made any progress without messing with the Hyuga's autonomy? Shizune blinked at the surprising maturity in Naruto's question. I hope so. We can't afford to step on any toes at the moment. Not with Konoha still recovering after the invasion. The doors to Tsunade's office opened and the Hyuga elders streamed out. Naruto was pleased to see that they looked a bit scared. Bachan was the Hokage and if she was angry, you were going to know it. Most of the Hyuga didn't spare Naruto a second glance. One elder, however, sent Naruto a venomous glare. Shizune returned the glare with a neutral almost appraising stare. Get in here, brat, Tsunade barked. Naruto scoffed, but complied. Don't get any more gray hairs, Bachan, I'm here. You must have really shown them that you were boss, Naruto congratulated Tsunade. Naruto, sit down, Tsunade said gently. A tremor of worry found its way into Naruto's bowels. The pit of dread nested in Naruto's core. According to the Hyuga, they are securing a transition of power and by the laws of Konoha and the Hyuga clan, they are within their rights. However, the Hyuga unlawfully removed 2 active shinobi from my ranks. I will use that to free your friends, Tsunade explained. I think Hinata-chan is more than a friend now, but I don't know. I am not sure enough to say out loud, but I think I'm close, Naruto thought. But Hinata-chan only has a few days. Naruto exclaimed. I know, Naruto. I'm doing everything I can. The Hyuga are going to drag their asses back here tomorrow for more negotiations. We'll get Neji and Hinata back, Tsunade spoke consolingly. Thanks, Bachan, Naruto said behind a smile. It wasn't what he had wanted to hear, but it was a good start. Naruto couldn't deny that Sasuke's concerns about a civil war were becoming his own concerns. I nearly forgot my, apartment got broken into yesterday too. What? Tsunade said flatly. Instinctively, Naruto gulped. The young genin had never heard Tsunade sound so dangerous before. When? Before Hinata-chan told me that she loved me, Naruto admitted. What are we going to have to do to get you the respect you deserve? Tsunade said in utter exasperation. You could always give me the hat. Naruto said excitedly. Nice try, brat. You're a few years away from that, Tsunade chided the excited blonde-haired Jinchuriki in front of her. I'll get someone I trust over to your apartment to look into who tried to rob you. That's just it, Bachan. Nothing was taken. Heck, whoever did it put my stuff back after they searched, Naruto explained. Why would someone do that? Shizune asked in shock. No clue, Naruto said with a shrug. Thanks for everything, Bachan. I'm happy to help, Naruto. Go home and get some rest, I bet today has been stressful. You could say that, Bachan, Naruto chuckled. I'll see you tomorrow. Good night, Naruto-kun, Shizune said warmly. Naruto waved back before walking away. Tsunade Shishm, what are we going to do? Shizune followed up as soon Naruto as was out of earshot. Everything we can, Tsunade promised. Naruto walked up the stairs to his apartment. The day had taken its toll on him. It was just like the day old man Hokage had died. The emotional punches he had taken had worn him out. He entered his apartment and sat down on the end of his bed. Naruto sighed as he closed his eyes. Hey, furball, I think we need to talk, Naruto said inwardly. Oh, what an honor, my warden wishes to speak with his prisoner, the Kyuubi responded glibly. Stuff it, Naruto snapped. The Hyuga are stalling Bachan. That is obvious. I am singularly amazed someone of your limited intellect noticed it so quickly, the Nine-Tails quipped. The Hyuga know that their kidnapping of Hinata won't hold up for long. They unlawfully removed 2 active duty shinobi from the military at a time when Konoha is short-handed, Naruto explained mostly to himself. I was unaware I was transferred to a new jailer. Who are you? The Kyuubi laughed as he felt the annoyance rolling off his warden. You are correct, however. I do not see how the Hyuga clan could ensure that the girl never leaves the compound, though. Naruto chewed over several possibilities. The final realistic possibility was terrifying. They're going to cripple her during the sealing attempt. Naruto screamed in base horror. Devious, very devious. I must say I am impressed by the Hyuga's subtlety. The sealing process is undoubtedly painful and dangerous. An error would be tragic, but not out of the realm of the possible, the Kyuubi said with a hint of respect. The respect in the demon's thought sent Naruto into a rage. Naruto's mental defenses began manifesting as golden chakra chains. Once again, the Kyuubi cursed the iron will of his warden and recoiled involuntarily. I would expect you to say trash like that, but if I ever hear you say anything positive about those bastards again, I'll crush you, Naruto swore. Your will is clear, Warden, the demon fox growled. What are your intentions for the Haika clan? They are going to try to make a fool of Ba-chan. Combine that with the bullshit they are trying to pull with Hinata-chan, I'm afraid we're going to have to do something. Naruto took a deep breath. Drastic. Drastic. The Kyuubi leaned in closer to the bars of his prison. I like the sound of drastic. Chapter 6. Anari sat silently on the wall of the human compound. The young fox demon Kit was perhaps being overly cautious, but this was the first time he had been summoned by Naruto-sama. He could not fail in his first hunt. Anari had been given very specific instructions. The kid was only to speak to, or be seen, by 2 people. The Haika compound was proving to be a very difficult hunting ground. Anari noticed that the human guards were unusually perceptive. Be patient, just like Shiboku taught, Anari thought to himself as he leaped down from the wall. The infiltration of the human sleeping quarters was a somewhat perilous journey. Anari had been certain several times that he had been discovered by patrolling guards. The young kid pounced onto the windowsill of the room with the strongest scent of his prey. Anari instantly ran into some kind of barrier. The young kid growled a bit as he felt a lump form on his head. He pawed the barrier to test its resiliency. This will be problematic, Anari thought glumly. Suddenly, a door on the other side of the barrier opened and Anari heard 2 voices. There was no time to raise an illusion, especially in the Haika compound. Shiboku and Naruto had warned the young demon about the Byakugan. Indecision gripped Anari and he simply froze in place. Very problematic. Thank you for my meal, a young woman thanked an unseen human. Anari perked up at the voices. You're welcome, Hinata-san. Someone will be by later with information on the elders meeting with Tsunade-sama, the Haika Anari could not see and barely smell replied. Hinata is the one Naruto-sama wished for me to meet, Anari thought excitedly. Unfortunately, the strange cold barrier was in the way. The fox demon kid pawed at the barrier in annoyance and whined. It wasn't fair to be so close to succeeding and be unable to complete his hunt. Hinata had just finished saying Itadakimasu when she heard the whine from behind her window. She turned and saw a small fox sitting on her windowsill. The poor thing must be hungry, Hinata thought as she put her food aside for a moment. The baby fox suddenly looked back and its ears drooped. Hinata quickly crossed the room to the window and opened it. It must be about to rain. Please come in, little fox. I have a bit of food, Hinata said invitingly. Thank you, Hinata-sama, Anari spoke in the melodious tone of voice that defined his species. The small fox demon jumped off the windowsill and into the room. My summoner was right. You are very kind. Why, you can talk. Hinata said in shock. But you are a fox. I am a summon of Naruto-sama. All members of my skull can talk and my name is Anari, the summoned fox explained. Naruto-kun. Hinata exclaimed in a combination of excitement, relief, and longing. He is worried about you, Anari told Hinata. He summoned me in order to protect you. Naruto-kun, I miss you. I love you so much, Hinata thought desperately. Hinata was about to question Anari on how Naruto was able to summon foxes, but a knock on her door ended all thoughts of talking to a fox. Anari-kun, you need to hide. Anari nodded and was preparing to raise an illusion when Hinata scooped him up in her arms. She quickly moved a stuffed animal from a small pile in the corner. Hinata had never been so grateful for a lack of time to fully unpack her belongings or clean her new room. Anari nodded, a strangely human gesture in Hinata's mind, and became motionless in the pile of stuffed animals. Please come in, Hinata said quickly. The door opened and Hanabi skipped into the room. Hello One-chan, Hanabi greeted warmly. The older Haika girl's curiosity was piqued by Hanabi's completely unsubtle attempts to hide something behind her back. Hello, Imauto, Hinata returned the greeting. How was the academy? Oh, you know, same as always. The rest of the day, though Hanabi drew out the last word. Did something happen? There was a tinge of worry in Hinata's voice. Oh, I ran into Naruto-kun, the newly elevated heiress answered idly. She smiled at her sister's wide-eyed and hopeful expression. And he told me to give you this. Hanabi pulled the letter from behind her back and waved it at her sister. Hinata nearly body flickered across the room and grabbed the letter. Thank you, dear sister. Thank you. You're welcome. I knew it would make you happy, so I definitely agreed to help you and your boyfriend out, Hanabi said as she hugged her sister. She snickered because she knew Hinata was definitely blushing. I can't describe how happy this has made me. Hinata fought back tears. After a moment, Hinata took the letter. I'll let you read that letter in private. I've got to listen to the elders complain about Tsunade-sama making fools out of them. Well, we'll talk later, One-chan, Hanabi said with a mix of annoyance and happiness. I look forward to it, Hanabi-chan, Hinata responded with a warm smile. The younger Haika girl left the room, rather reluctantly. Hinata closed the door and found a comfortable spot on her new bed. You can come out, Anari-kun, Hinata beckoned the small fox. The little demon squirmed out of the stuffed animals and trotted over to Hinata. "Was that girl a member of your skulk?" The demon asked as it flopped down next to his summoner's love. "Skulk? You must mean family." "Yes, Hanabi-chan is my precious sister," Hinata revealed. She reached for her dinner and picked up a piece of duck. "Would you like some?" The demon kid sniffed at the meat and snapped the piece out of Hinata's hands. The fox swallowed contentedly before looking up at Hinata's surprised face. "Forgive my rudeness, I was just very hungry." "It is alright, Anari-kun," Hinata assured the fox. She reached down and scratched the demon behind the ears. The fox huffed contentedly and started to drift asleep. Hinata giggled and made a mental note to thank Naruto for sending such a cute guard fox for her. She nervously opened the letter and began to read. Naruto had clearly put his heart into writing this letter. The letter transmitted all the warmth and confidence that Naruto possessed. The last line burned itself into Hinata's memory and her heart. "I promise I will never give up on you. One way or another, I promise you will have my response, face to face. You can count on it. After all, we share the same Nindo." "Naruto-kun," Hinata said dreamily. Anari looked up and Hinata smiled at the small fox. She realized nothing more needed to be said. Naruto's letter and the presence of Anari were all the proof Hinata needed. "I will wait for you, Naruto-kun. But I know that I will not have to wait long." Naruto slammed his palm on the ground and summoned Shiboku. Naruto's favorite fox summon bowed its head respectfully. "Is there something you require, Naruto-sama?" The red and black two-tailed demon asked. "Yeah, Anari never reported back in this morning. I need someone I can trust to find him and report back," Naruto ordered. "Other than Anari's and Hinata-sama's well-being, what else should I report on?" Shiboku asked. "If you see Hiashi, make sure he isn't being treated like crap. It'll be scary enough asking him to date Hinata if he's in good shape. If he's coming off a really rough week, I'll be boned. Oh. Check on Niji too," Naruto added. Shiboku created an illusion and disappeared. Naruto took a deep breath and prepared to leap into the trees. He had a lot of work left to do. "I need to map out the Haika compound from the memories my shadow clone sent me." Naruto checked off another item on his to-do list. The drastic option was looking like it would be the option. The Haika elders' attempts to stall Bachan were so transparent it was becoming insulting. "I'll need to write that letter saying Bachan had nothing to do with this too," Naruto verbally reminded himself as he landed on a branch. "Dude. What the hell was that? You summoned a fox." Naruto gulped as he heard Kiba's shocked exclamation. Akamaru whined in agreement. "Well Kiba, I'm glad you asked," Naruto lied his ass off. "There's a very good explanation for all that." Naruto rubbed the back of his head and thought of a string of very impressive curses. Things had been going so well. Sasuke stared at the picture of Team 7. His gaze migrated left and the picture, his truly beloved picture of his family captured him completely. Sasuke shut his eyes tightly. It was a futile attempt to block the images of his friendship with Naruto, the could-have-beens with Sakura, and the images of his parents murdered by Itachi. Sasuke opened his eyes and knew instinctively that his Sharingan had activated. He had made his choice. Sasuke was Uchiha before he had been a member of Team 7. He could feel his hatred slipping away. "I cannot fulfill my duty, my destiny, as I am. Konoha will rob me of all my hate," Sasuke lamented. He rose from his position on his bed and began to gather his supplies. Sasuke stopped packing as a realization dawned on him. He had no idea how he would reach Orochimaru. Sasuke did remember that Kabuto had mentioned that sound was the dominant power in the land of rice paddies. Sasuke could easily head north and eventually reach the land of rice fields. That simplistic plan was doomed to failure. Konoha would deploy the Haika, Aburame and Inyazuka clans to track him down. He'd be lucky if he made it 40 miles. Sasuke snorted at the thought of Team 8 tracking him down. As if Naruto needed another reason to reinforce his new infatuation with Hinata, Sasuke chuckled at the dark thought swimming in his head. Sasuke looked out the window. A path to power will reveal itself. I know it. My destiny will not be denied. Niji knocked in code on one of the doors in the cadet branch wing of the compound. The room's occupant cracked the door open. "May I help you?" the older man asked. "Yes, Hiroki-san. I need to speak with you," Niji spoke calmly. "Ah, Niji-san, come in, come in." Hiroki opened the door and gestured for the young man to enter his small room. "How may I help the pride of the cadet branch?" "You are aware that the illustrious council plans on sealing Hinata-sama at the end of the week," Niji said with contempt, not for Hiroki, but for the council. "Tragically, yes. She was our great hope," Hiroki said in a nearly broken tone of voice. "Hinata-sama is our great hope for freeing us. I have come with a warning for my brothers and sisters of the cadet branch. The sealing will not happen. Uzumaki Naruto will see to that," Niji reported. At the mention of Naruto, Niji smiled darkly. "How will the young man who defeated you prevent such an atrocity?" I know you have great respect for this Naruto-san, but how will he aid us? Hiroki asked as he presented Neji a cup of tea. Neji inhaled the aroma of the tea. He took a sip and chuckled. Knowing Naruto, it will involve shadow clones, loud shouts of "Where's my girlfriend?" And hopefully you couldn't take Neji if you actually fought him. Are you sure? The old cadet attendant asked in disbelief. Oh, I may have the wording wrong, but Naruto will undoubtedly storm the compound. He has admirable hate for the Juinjutsu for one born outside of the cadet branch, Neji said proudly. If you believe in your friend, then I shall believe in him as well. I assume this warning is for us to remain in the cadet wing while Naruto carries out his mission. That is correct, Neji confirmed Hiroki's theory. And those of us who will be forced into enslaving Hinata-sama? The old man asked. Leave the Juinjutsu visible. Naruto will recognize it and not attack cadet members, Neji assured. Hiroki sat silently for a moment. I will pass along your counsel. Thank you, Hiroki-san, Neji bowed politely. He exited the old man's room and made his way back to his own quarters. Neji shut the door and smiled. So close. I would never have imagined that Naruto would fulfill his promise so soon. The Juinjutsu, it will be eliminated in my lifetime. My children will be free of this burden. My children will not be slaves, Neji thought in utter triumph. The emotion was overwhelming and he shed his first tears in years. The last time Neji cried was the day he learned his beloved father had died. Your foresight is admirable, Haika. Neji, a voice that was certainly inhuman, congratulated the Haika prodigy. What are you? Neji asked in shock and instinctively activated his Byakugan. I am Shiboku, an ally. Naruto-sama, my summoner, has sent me to confirm your safety and that of Hinata-sama, Shiboku revealed. I know Naruto can summon toads, but foxes? Neji questioned. A memory worked its way to the surface of Neji's mind. Neji remembered an image his Byakugan captured during his fight against Naruto. Naruto's chakra had taken on the shape of a fox's head. In addition, the chakra had flared red for a moment. Had Naruto unknowingly tapped into some form of Senjutsu? That could explain how he was able to unblock his Tenketsu after my Haki Rakujikin SHM, Neji thought. He only had a vague understanding of the principle of Senjutsu. He had discovered a few texts during his clandestine studies. The concept had intrigued him, but none of the texts explained the mechanism for gathering nature chakra. Neji had given up on pursuing the sage arts due to the number of unknowns and the potential risks. It is not my place to speak of Naruto-sama's abilities. I must find a missing member of my skulk within your clan's walls. Naruto-sama is concerned about the safety of both his potential mate and Anari, the kid he tasked with finding her. Remain safe, Haika Neji, Shiboku said before vanishing in a mist. Neji's left eye twitched. Potential mate. I know Naruto had received training from Jiraiya-sama, but I had hoped the Toad Sage's other legendary skills had not taken root. Well, what's this good explanation? Kiba said as he crossed his arms. Akamaru barked a few times and the young dog's hackles were clearly up. Naruto sighed and closed his eyes. After a moment, Naruto reopened his eyes. No offense, Kiba, but I wanted Hinata-chan to be the first person I told this to, but I guess it can't be helped. I can summon foxes because I am the jailer of the nine-tailed demon fox. It's a long story and I'm not the first person to have the Kikbi sealed within me, Naruto explained. The Kikbi? Kiba asked in shock. The legendary Bijk himself, Naruto confirmed. You're a guy, right? You see, this is why I wanted to eat you. You can't even be bothered to remember my gender. And your memory is as short as your lifespan. I told you that I am the father of the demon foxes, the Kikbi growled. How the fourth killed him, it whatever. Kiba gulped. Naruto took a single deep breath. Like I said, it's a long story, Naruto said before launching into an abbreviated version of the story based on what information he possessed. Naruto still knew that the fox was hiding some very important details, but he wasn't going to press. This was a delicate moment and he didn't want Kiba to panic and make the situation even more difficult. Naruto told Kiba about how the Kikbi couldn't be killed because he was a sentient mass of chakra. Kiba listened intently as Naruto also revealed how he could tap the Kyuubi's chakra in times of great need. The entire talk took nearly an hour. Well, that's unexpected. But I do know that you aren't a fox, Kiba breathed out. Really? Is it because of how nice a guy I am? Naruto asked hopefully. Hell no. I know you aren't a fox because if you were the new incarnation of a Bijk, I wouldn't have dominated our fight in the Chunin exams, Kiba finished with a smirk. Dominate? You didn't dominate that fight. Naruto shouted indignantly. Borden, I do mean to burst your bubble, but the other mortal is right. I was embarrassed by how completely outclassed you were, the Kikbi added helpfully. Oh stuff it, furball. Naruto growled out loud. I don't believe it. Did the Kikbi just agree with me? Kiba hadn't been hit by anything that hard since Naruto's devastating final blow in his Uzumaki Naruto Renden. Naruto, for his part, simply hung his head in embarrassment. Yes, the Kyuubi agreed with you, Naruto finished with a sigh. You do realize that I'm never going to let you live this down? Kiba joked. You do realize I'm going to be Hokage and your boss? Naruto countered. Sure thing, Hokage-sama, Kiba laughed. A heartbeat later, Kiba became deadly serious. You're planning something. Something involving Hinata. Naruto took a deep breath and matched Kiba's seriousness. Damn right I am. There is no way in hell I'm letting those bastards seal her. I'm sure the Hokage elders are going to do something to hurt Neji, too. They are going to seal Hinata. Kiba snarled. Naruto had never been glad to feel killing intent before, but Kiba's killing intent was strangely comforting. I'm not going to let them. Hinata-chan. Naruto felt his own rage at the injustice of Hinata's situation leak forward. It's another long story. Kiba once again listened intently to Naruto's lengthy explanation. So, what do I need to do to help? Naruto smiled. First thing, we're going to need to get everyone together. I've got a plan. I'll get the rest of my team, Tenten and Bushy Brows. I'll need you to get Team 10 and Shino. Where should we meet? Kiba asked. We probably don't want to meet for training. That might encourage our senseis to tag along. The two of us are planning a party to celebrate beating back the invasion, Naruto said after a second of thought. It wouldn't be hard to convince them that we want to brag about how much we did. I mean, you helped save Hinata-chan from Cloud. I knocked some sense into Gaara. We have a lot to be proud of. We were awesome, weren't we? Kiba gloated. Naruto grinned broadly back. Hell yes, we were. You still didn't answer our question, though. Where do we want to meet? Kiba translated Akamaru's barks and yips. There's a rooftop park near the aviary. It's a quiet, out-of-the-way area. That'd be our best bet, Naruto replied. Sure thing, Naruto. Kiba started to leave to look for Shino. You're going to tell the rest of the gang everything, aren't you? You all are my friends, and you deserve to know. I'm also going to need your help to rescue Neji and Hinata-chan, Naruto confessed with a hint of nervousness. What's that phrase your sensei is so fond of? Kiba asked. I'm not a pervert, I'm a super pervert. Naruto asked. Akamaru whined as Kiba rolled his eyes. I've never heard Kakashi-sensei say that. Oh, sorry, for a bit I thought you were talking about Iro-senin, Naruto admitted. He noticed Kiba's odd look. Jiraiya. But the phrase is those who break the rules are trash, but those who abandon their friends are lower than trash. I don't think any of our group are lower than trash, do you? Kiba posed the question to Naruto. No, none of you are. I am proud to have you all as my friends, Naruto said with a genuine smile. See you at the aviary, Kiba said as Akamaru howled in agreement. Naruto turned towards Konoha and took off through the trees. His smile never left his face. They were going to get Hinata-chan and Neji back. It was still difficult to think of the hardships that had happened since the chunin exams. The death of Old Man Hokage, the battle with Gaara, and, finally, Hinata-chan and Neji's situation weighed heavily on Naruto. However, he had hope. If Kiba accepted Naruto even after discovering the truth about the Kyuubi, Naruto no longer had doubts about Hinata-chan or the others accepting him. Naruto found himself filled with hope and excitement. Iruka blinked twice as he tried to remember where he was. The last thing he really remembered was reaching across Adao's bar. I was with Anko, drinking away my worries about Naruto's arrangement with the Kyuubi, and then Iruka struggled to recall the events of the previous evening. The academy teacher tried to rub his eyes, but realized his arm was pinned in place. And Iruka knew exactly who was pinning his arm in place. Good morning, Anko, Iruka said casually. Quiet you, I'm enjoying more time on top, Anko teased sleepily. So, was yesterday really bad or really good? It certainly ended on a high note, Iruka admitted. What was driving you to drink? Anko questioned as she nuzzled into Iruka's chest. Naruto. What has that interesting brat done now? Anko was genuinely curious. She remembered the reports about how he had defeated Tsuna's Jinchuriki. Anko was aware that Naruto had really impressed everyone in T&I. The special Jonin wasn't aware of the details of Naruto's involvement in getting Tsunade to return to Konoha. All that she had managed to confirm was that Naruto was instrumental in the success of the mission. What hasn't Naruto been involved in? On the mission to bring Tsunade-sama back, he was involved in another battle against Orochimaru. Iruka lamented. He had faith in Naruto, but he also had an instinctive desire to protect the boy. Again? Anko shot up. She quickly straddled Iruka, and the look in her eyes demanded answers. Naruto told me about it. Evidently that snake bastard approached Tsunade-sama in an attempt to have her heal his arms. Iruka began his retelling of Naruto's mission. It took several minutes, but Anko listened intently. What a kid surviving being caught in the middle of a battle between the San and Anko chuckled nervously. And here I thought he was just one of those loudmouths when I first met him. So did I, Iruka confessed. I get the feeling Naruto is going to keep making waves. Should be fun to watch, Anko hummed. Naruto had found Tenten practicing her shuriken. He had given her an update on Niji. Tenten had gotten so excited at the news that she had hugged Naruto. "I've got to ask, though," Tenten said as she sealed away her enormous collection of shuriken, knives and kunai. "What is it?" Naruto asked the unnecessary question. He already knew what Tenten was planning on asking him. "How did you find out?" "The Haikyuu have been doing a really good job on keeping anyone from getting close to the compound," Tenten asked. "I'll explain everything when we meet up with the others," Naruto promised. "Can you help me find Bushy Brows?" "Lee? He's probably training with Guy-sensei. Before I'll take you to them, I want you to promise me that you aren't going to keep me out of the loop," Tenten cornered Naruto. "Tenten, I promise, I'm going to tell you and everyone all the details as soon as we meet up with Kiba, Shino and Team 10, Naruto assured his friend. "I'll hold you to that," Tenten's tone broke no room for argument. Naruto gulped and followed Tenten to Guy and Lee's usual training grounds. "Yosh. Greetings Tenten and Naruto. Have you come to train with me alongside Guy-sensei?" Lee asked enthusiastically. "Actually, Bushy Brows, Kiba and I want to get all our genin teams together to plan a party," Naruto told Lee the partial truth. "So, you wish to have a most youthful get-together?" Might Guy bellowed. "Yeah, but we're just planning it for now, Guy-sensei. Can't have a party without Niji and Hinata," Tenten interjected. "Indeed. It is good that you do not wish to exclude your friends," Guy said proudly. He turned to Lee and flashed a thumbs up. "Go with your teammate and fellow genius of hard work. Have fun, my students." Lee bowed to Guy-sensei. "We will. Thank you Guy-sensei." Naruto, Lee and Tenten exited the training ground. Lee noticed the odd looks Naruto and Tenten were exchanging. After a few awkward moments, Lee cleared his throat. "My friends, is something going on?" "I don't know, I'm still waiting for Naruto to explain everything," Tenten pouted. Naruto sighed. "I promise I'll tell all of you. We just need to get my team and then meet Kiba and Team 10 at the aviary." The two members of Team Guy followed behind Naruto. Tenten wasn't pleased that Naruto was holding back information regarding Niji's safety. Naruto decided Tenten and Lee deserved some information. He told them about how Tsunade was negotiating with the Haikyuu. Naruto breathed a sigh of relief when he saw Tenten relax a bit. He made a second decision and created a pair of shadow clones and sent them to the Hokage's tower. "Why did you create two, Naruto-san?" Lee asked as they entered one of the nicer neighborhoods of Konoha. "One is to find out if the meeting happened or is over. The second is to find out all the details," Naruto explained. "So, the clones are going to run around Konoha all day trying to track us down?" Tenten asked. "Nah, Shizune told me about this really cool trick about the shadow clones. When they dispel, I get all their memories. I'll know pretty much instantly when they go pop," Naruto excitedly explained the newest facet of his favorite technique. Tenten and Lee couldn't help but grin. There was something about Naruto that just drew a person in. "I feel I should warn you, we're going to get Sasuke first. He'll probably be really unenthusiastic. I'll probably have to promise to fight him later or something." "Fight him?" Tenten asked. Her natural inquisitive nature was coming to the fore. It was also a nice distraction from her growing worry about Niji. She had never expected to miss the Haikyuu genius this much. "Yeah, short version, he challenged me to a fight yesterday, but I didn't really give him an answer. I kinda ditched him and Sakura-chan when my clone dispelled." "I take it Sasuke didn't take it well?" Tenten asked. No," Naruto laughed nervously as they reached the apartment door. Naruto knocked a few times. They waited by the door for nearly a full minute. Eventually, Sasuke cracked open the door. "What is it?" "All the teams are getting together. There's something I am going to tell everyone and, as my friend, you deserve to be there to hear it," Naruto said resolutely. "I told you my position on the Haikyuu," Sasuke said firmly. "It's not just about that, Sasuke," Naruto had a slight pleading edge in his voice. Sasuke opened the door and looked to Naruto, then to the two members of Team Guy, before his gaze returned to Naruto. Naruto breathed a sigh of relief as Sasuke's eyes softened. "Fine, I take it we need to find Sakura?" the last Uchiha asked as he locked his apartment's door. "Yeah, Bushy Brows, Tenten and I were going to get her after picking you up. Kiba's getting Shino and Team 10. We'll all meet at the aviary," Naruto explained. Sasuke nodded once and fell in beside Naruto. "You haven't looked this nervous since we ran into the Demon Brothers. I had almost forgotten you were a scaredy cat," Sasuke snapped at Naruto. Naruto grinned broadly. It was good to have the old Sasuke back. "Oh, I'm just scared that a mob of fangirls will trample me trying to bask in your oh so glorious presence," Naruto snapped back. Sasuke rolled his eyes. Lee and Tenten watched the interaction and were amazed at how natural Naruto and Sasuke's camaraderie was. "Like I'd let that happen before our fight," Sasuke grimaced. The thought of his rival meeting an inglorious death by fangirl stampede wasn't a pleasant one. "Sasuke, you really do care," the fox summoner wiped a non-existent tear from his eye. HMPH, I just care about our fight, Sasuke mumbled. Naruto laughed heartily and slapped Sasuke on the back. Tenten narrowed her eyes as she took in Sasuke's reaction. Naruto hadn't hit Sasuke that hard, but the Uchiha reacted as if Naruto had doused him with scalding hot water. Sasuke rubbed his shoulder gingerly as Naruto laughed about Sasuke being an old softy at heart. Eventually, the young ninja reached a simple home in a comfortable civilian neighborhood. So, you want to knock her, should I? Naruto asked Sasuke. Why should I? Sasuke groaned. Naruto and Sasuke started a nonsensical argument and Tenten decided to take matters into her own hands. She lightly stepped around the two arguing boys and knocked twice on the door. A man's voice shouted that he would get it and the door opened a heartbeat afterwards. Hello, you must be Sasuke-sama and Naruto-san, a pink-haired man greeted politely. I don't believe we've had the pleasure of meeting. Oh, forgive me, I didn't see your other friends. Please, come in. Sakura's father led the group into the home. Please, have a seat, I'll get my daughter, the man said warmly. Sakura. Your teammates and your other friends are here. Naruto nudged Sasuke. Please tell me I wasn't the only one expecting it to be Sakura-chan's mom with the pink hair. You weren't, Sasuke assured Naruto. The conversation died as Sakura bolted down the stairs. Hello, Sasuke-kun. Hey, Lee-kun. Any luck with your, book, Naruto? Oh, hey Tenten. Sakura greeted her friends and comrades in a single breath. Greetings, Sakura-chan. Lee responded excitedly. Sasuke smirked a bit and nodded at Sakura. Naruto's pink-haired teammate blushed at the attention. Sakura's father, however, was not amused and glared at both Sasuke and Lee. It took all of Naruto and Tenten's self-control not to laugh. So why are you all here? Sakura asked. Oh, all the teams are getting together at the aviary. We're going to plan a party to celebrate beating back Sound and getting Bachan back to the village, Naruto easily shared the cover story. Does that mean Hinata and Neji will be there? Sakura asked hopefully. Her shoulders slumped as the devastated looks on Naruto and Tenten's faces provided the answer. Sorry, I guess that's why we're just planning, right? Yeah, it's why we're planning, Sasuke said, and Sakura caught the bitterness Sasuke put into the word planning. Team 7's Kunoichi cast a quick glance at Naruto. Well, we can't keep our friends waiting at the aviary. Let's go. Sakura said with a hint of forced enthusiasm. Naruto, Sasuke and Tenten shrugged and followed Sakura without a word. Lee, however, loudly agreed and followed the object of his obvious affections out of the door. Sakura, honey, make sure you are back before 9. Sakura's father shouted after his daughter. No one missed the emphasis on you, singular. Let me guess, we're not just planning a party. You've got some plan to rescue Hinata, Sakura pointed out the obvious. Yeah, but there's something else I need to tell all of you guys, Naruto said nervously. Sakura gave Naruto an odd look, but her teammate only looked towards the Hokage monument. She sighed and turned to Sasuke for answers. Naruto hasn't told me anything, Sasuke finished with a snort. Sakura turned to Lee and Tenten. The two members of Team Guy simply shrugged. They were as clueless as Sasuke and Sakura. A young shinobi reached the aviary without another word being spoken. Kiba, Shino and Team 10 were waiting at the foot of the stairs. Kiba nodded at Naruto's approach, and Naruto returned it. The park up top is clear, you want to tell everyone here or there? Kiba asked. We'll go up to the roof. I've got a lot to tell, and I'd prefer to just tell my friends, Naruto said firmly. Sasuke's eyes bored into Naruto's back as he ascended the stairs. The others followed Naruto up the stairs. Naruto closed his eyes, and everyone could notice the change as Naruto reopened them. His eyes had an icy feel to them. They were no longer the eyes of a prankster or rookie genin. They were the eyes of authority. You guys might want to take a seat. This will take a while. Everyone but Kiba and Sasuke immediately took a seat. Kiba leaned nonchalantly against the railing of the rooftop park. Akamaru looked up at his partner and made a questioning sound. Solidarity buddy, I know what Naruto's going to say, Kiba whispered. Akamaru barked his agreement. Sasuke crossed his arms and remained standing. He gave off an air of impatience, but Naruto either didn't recognize it or chose to ignore it. I'm a bit nervous, Naruto chuckled as he took a seat himself. Ino, Kiba and Choji returned the chuckle. Ino and Choji laughed because Naruto's demeanor simply invited them to share in Naruto's good humor. Even if it was forced. Kiba chuckled because he knew how much an understatement a bit nervous was. Naruto looked each of his friends directly in the eyes. I'm nervous because well, this will change everything. Isn't that a bit melodramatic? Ino forced out a nervous laugh. Naruto couldn't have immobilized Ino faster if he had used a Kagame no Jutsu. Naruto didn't use ninjutsu or even a word to pin Ino in place. Instead, he simply looked his friend deeply in the eyes. No, it's not. You have all been lied to, and your families have been forbidden from telling anything remotely connected to the truth. The words were disturbingly precise and biting. I should probably start at the beginning. The Yondaime Hokage did not kill the Kikbi. The complete silence that followed was exactly what Naruto had been expecting. The reactions were also telling. Shikamaru was wide awake and had entered that strange pose Naruto had seen his lazy but brilliant friend enter during the fight against Temari. Ino was wide-eyed and had covered her mouth with her hands. Sakura gripped the sides of her dress top tightly. Taoji had put away his chips and Shino had taken off his sunglasses. The Kikbi is a living mass of chakra. He can't be killed like we can. He's way too powerful for that, Naruto began. He could feel the Kikbi's satisfaction at Naruto acknowledging his power. The Yondaime did defeat the Kikbi. He couldn't kill Kikbi, so Minato-sama did the next best thing. Minato-sama. Naruto had pretty much practiced this speech on his way to find Tenten a dozen times. However, the more he thought about the night of his birth and the sealing of Kikbi, the more the gears in Naruto's head began to turn. He took a deep breath and focused again on his friends. They were all looking at him in rapt attention. Minato-sama sealed away Kikbi. Naruto gulped back his emotions. Why is it so much harder to tell this the second time? It is because you are going to reveal your mother, Naruto. You only gave Kiba an abbreviated version of the truth, the Kikbi told Naruto with feigned indifference. Oh, and Naruto, your instincts are correct. Yeah, I guess that changes everything, Naruto responded in a bit of a daze. He hadn't even recognized that the Kikbi had called him Naruto. I am not the first Jinchuriki of the Kikbi. I am not the first person to have the Kikbi sealed inside of me. Naruto's voice was barely a whisper, but there was power in his statement. Your mother wasn't the first Jinchuriki. The first was Senju Hashirama's wife, Uzumaki Mito, Kikbi revealed. The others were Uzumaki Mito and my mother, Uzumaki Kushina. The boy's tone became wistful as he mentioned his mother. Naruto instinctively longed to know more about Kushina. At his core, Naruto was lonely and craved a family. In the forest of death when Orochimaru hit you, it was because of the Kikbi? Sakura asked between shocked and desperate breaths. Why yeah, the snake bastard didn't want to risk me using Kikbi's chakra, Naruto admitted. Naruto, Sasuke spoke up and snatched away the attention that had been focused on Naruto. You are talking about the Kikbi like you know it. I wouldn't say know him, but we've kinda got an arrangement, Naruto continued to confess. He heard the shocked gasps of the others and looked down. We created a fox summoning contract. Kikbi doesn't want his kids enslaved or killed, so he suggested we create a contract. The Kikbi nearly destroyed Konoha, Naruto-san, Shino pointed out evenly. Naruto had trouble telling if Shino was being cautious or judgmental. It wasn't my choice. I won't lie, I enjoy the rush of combat and destruction, but attacking Konoha wasn't a choice I made. An old enemy of mine ripped open your mother's seal mere moments after you were born, Kikbi revealed. This man used the Sharingan to control me. See, could you tell me more later? Naruto pleaded. The Kikbi mentally nodded. It wasn't his choice. An enemy of his attacked my mother after I was born and somehow freed him and used a powerful technique to force Kikbi to attack Konoha. Naruto altered the truth, but did not truly lie. The young genin couldn't believe what Naruto was telling them. It was all too much. Unfortunately, Naruto had more to reveal. I have more to tell all of you, Naruto was suddenly hoarse. Do you all want to take a break? I can send out some cage bunchins to get us some food or something. Naruto, the Kikbi is why you can create so many cage bunchins, isn't it? Shikamaru questioned. Why yeah, Naruto admitted quietly. Naruto, I think your idea for a break was a good one, Sakura jumped into the conversation. I've got a bit of money with me. Kiba recognized the need for a break as well. He had known what Naruto was going to tell everyone and he was still overwhelmed. There was something about Naruto's second explanation that hit him much harder than the first time. Food sounds like a good idea. I'm always up for food, Chaoji added his support. Eventually, everyone but Sasuke and Shino verbally agreed to take a break. Naruto created a large number of cage bunchins and sent them out into the world. Tenten took the opportunity to speak with Naruto privately, while the others chatted or simply digested everything Naruto had told them. The Fox contract is how you found out that information on Neji, Tenten stated point blank. Yeah, Naruto said with a hint of a frown. Are you scared? I just want to know if Neji is okay, the weapon genius mumbled. I meant, are you scared of me? Oh well, not of you. You're still Naruto and a bit goofy, Tenten admitted in a completely natural, if distracted, tone of voice. Naruto couldn't help but smile at his friend's admission. I guess I'll need to let everything sink in. Naruto found he could only nod. The shadow clones returned and handed out the food before dispelling. Naruto watched all his friends talking amongst themselves. This should have been one of Naruto's most treasured moments. In some ways, he was sure it would be. However, there were two glaring absences. Neji and Hinata weren't with the others. Naruto felt a twist in his gut as he imagined Hinata talking with Sakura and Ino about some girl thing or another. When the Hinata apparition shot him a shy look, Naruto's heart broke. Hanako was grateful that she was not involved in the negotiations with Tsunade-sama. The Hokage was furious that the Hyuga had withdrawn most of the clan from active duty without consulting her first. Tsunade's anger was compounded by the Hyuga's knowledge that the clan had no solid legal grounds to defend their position. It was obvious to anyone that the Hyuga were simply stalling for time. Hanako growled as she realized that the transfer of power from Hiashi to the council had been delayed by Uzumaki Naruto. I knew Hinata should have never been permitted to see anyone. That foolish sympathy set all this in motion. Hanako raged. But we could not know that the Uzumaki boy would have reacted so strongly. There was no evidence of any romantic relationship unless… No, I refused to believe they were secretly lovers. The Hyuga elder shook off those thoughts. There was nothing that would stop the transfer of power. It would take some form of direct outside intervention. The Hyuga council was confident that Tsunade would not risk intervention. Hanako smiled as she thought of Takeshi and Norio's brilliant plan to present the negotiations as a matter of clan sovereignty to the smaller clans. As Hanako placed her signature on the letter from the Shugo of the Hosokawa Han, she had trouble deciding whether to smile or sigh. Hanako wanted to smile because this letter practically secured Hyuga influence in one of the largest haunts in the Land of Fire. It didn't hurt that young Miyako and the Shugo's heir were smitten with each other. Hanako was thrilled that such a perfect match had been arranged. Hanako wanted to sigh because she couldn't shake the worry that the entire situation could come crashing down around them. All because of Uzumaki Naruto. Perhaps we could poison him. No, we don't know how his death would affect the Kikbi. Damn it, he's practically untouchable. The knock at the door was one of the most beautiful sounds she had ever heard. Please come in. Hanako-sama, Takeshi-sama and Norio-sama have returned from their meeting with the Hokage, a cadet attendant announced. Thank you, Hanako said curtly. They are waiting for you in the chamber, my lady, the young man said as he bowed. Hanako slid gracefully through the halls and into the meeting room. How did the meeting go? Hanako asked the moment she entered the chamber. The other elders were there. We continue to buy time, Norio humphed. That is all we ask, my friend, Sadao placated. What concessions were we forced to provide to our Hokage? Tsunade-sama requested that Yumino Iruka be allowed to meet with the academy students and visit the compound, Takeshi growled. He was a single push from being in a permanent rage. Yudai's death had been almost a physical blow to him. Yudai was Takeshi's favored nephew and it was an open secret that Takeshi favored Yudai more than his own children. Naturally, the rest of the council had not told Takeshi the truth of Yudai's death. How soon will Yumino Iruka arrive? Hanako asked. Takeshi sighed. He accompanied us to the compound. Tsunade's majordomo, Shizune, retrieved him and Jonin Mitarashi. They are waiting in the public receiving room. They should remain there, Hanako said quickly. We can bring the children to Yumino-san there. It is a larger room, after all. The council quickly agreed and gathered the Hyuga Academy students, including Hanabi. Hanako and Sadao led the youngest Hyuga into the public receiving room. The teacher immediately brightened and walked over to his students. Are all of you alright? The students nodded with various degrees of enthusiasm, but Hanabi spoke up. We're doing well, Iruka-sensei. That's good. That's good, Iruka smiled. I brought the assignments you all have missed. Several of the younger Hyuga groaned at Iruka's announcement. Sadao and Hanako made a mental note to communicate their displeasure to the students for their un-Hyuga-like behavior. Now, there's no need for that, Iruka chuckled. We can't have some of the academy's most promising students falling behind now, can we? Listen to Iruka, brats. You'll thank him for this one day, Anko piped in. The young Hyuga could tell that arguing with Anko wouldn't be a pleasant experience and decided to pay attention. Iruka-sensei, do you know when we'll be allowed to go back to the academy? Yoichi, an 11-year-old cadet student, asked nervously. I'm sure you'll be back very soon. If it were up to me, none of you would have missed a day. Oh, that reminds me, Iruka said in a comforting tone of voice. The teacher fumbled around in the bag, which had been checked by one of the guards already, and pulled out a notebook. Mishiro sent her notes. Yoichi blushed a bit as he quietly accepted the notes. His blush deepened as his little brother, Tashi, sang Yoichi has a girlfriend. Now, we need to get started, I only have an hour. I want to help you all as much as I can in that hour, Iruka chuckled. Anko was the only one who noticed the disapproving glares Hanako and Sadao had shot at Yoichi when his blush had revealed the nature of his relationship with Mishiro. Ready for me to finish? Naruto asked his friends. They all said yes, nodded, or gave some other sign they were ready. Hinata-chan and Niji are in some serious trouble. Since when is it Hinata-chan? Chaoji asked as he stuffed some pretzels in his mouth. Since Hinata-chan told me that she loves me, Naruto said sharply, but his tone was betrayed by the soft look in his eyes. But why are they in trouble? Ino stepped in. She saw the down look on Naruto's face. Naruto never looked down. Ino tried to remember that goofy but a bit endearing smile, leaving his face. The only times she could remember were during his fight with Kiba. Or when Niji destroyed Hinata and when he went off on Niji during their fight. Ino realized. This whole sudden interest in Hinata isn't as sudden as I first thought. Hinata's dad lost his position as clan head and the guys who took over have decided to seal Hinata-chan, Naruto finished with a growl. What about Niji-san? Lee asked calmly. Lee's calm tone of voice was a bit unnerving. I don't know yet. I'm worried, though, if the Haika are willing to seal Hinata-chan, whatever they are planning for Niji can't be good. I sent Shiboku to find out, but he's not back yet, Naruto explained. Tenten looked terrified and Lee was clearly worried. Naruto-san, when will the Haika attempt to seal Hinata-san? Shino spoke for the first time. The end of the week. Hopefully, Bachan will be able to put the Haika in their place and get not just Hinata-chan and Niji back, but the rest of the Haika. Naruto crossed his arms and spoke authoritatively. Sakura couldn't help but smile. Naruto had always boasted how he was going to be Hokage. However, this was the first time she truly believed her friend's eager boasts. What's this about other Haika? Shikamaru looked up from his thinking position. I met with Iruka-sensei before Hinata-chan told me everything. He mentioned that the Haika had removed all the members of their clan from the academy, Naruto answered Shikamaru. The Naruto-chunin grumbled something and retreated back to his planning. Don't the Haika realize how short-handed Konoha is right now? Ino snapped. We should do something. No, we shouldn't. Would you want others interfering in your clan's affairs? Sasuke asked sharply. Well no, but my clan wouldn't be doing something so mean and stupid, Ino grumbled. All we should and can do is wait for the negotiations to finish. The Uchiha's voice was reasonable and even. His tone, more than his position, shocked his comrades and friends. The Haika are stalling for time. If we wait, Hinata will be sealed. I know that there's no way Naruto and I are going to let that happen. Kiba shouted. If you all are willing to risk civil war, then I'm leaving, Sasuke practically growled and started to leave. He stopped at the top of the stairs. No one follow me. We'll talk later, Naruto. Sasuke, wait. Naruto's plea fell on deaf ears. Sasuke simply left. The others looked at Naruto in pity. Naruto never wanted pity. I'll talk to him later. Sasuke'll come around, the leader of the meeting said a bit hotly. I could talk to him, Sakura suggested. No, I need you here, Sakura-chan. I'll need your opinions on this plan, Naruto sighed and shook his head. Thanks, though. Sakura blushed a bit. It was an odd feeling. Naruto's tone had reminded Sakura of her brother's tone before he had left for the Land of Fire's capital. Sakura missed Kenji. Kenji would always be the most enthusiastic about Sakura's good grades and would reward her marks with ice cream. Sakura shook off equating Naruto with Kenji and filed it away in the corner of her mind. You're welcome. Sasuke's right though. We don't want to piss off any of the clans. Especially since we've still got that black eye from the snake bastards invasion, Naruto finished with a deep breath. Man, all this thinking and talking feels like a full contact training session, Naruto thought to himself. Well, your brain is your least exercised muscle, the Kikbi quipped. You're not helping, furball, Naruto grumbled to the Bijk. So, what are we going to do? Chaoji asked. You guys aren't going to do anything directly, Naruto smiled mischievously. I'm going to do all the legwork to get Hinata-chan and Niji out. I just need you guys to help keep Niji and Hinata-chan safe after I bust them out. I'm not going to tell you who is going where, though. Why not? Kiba asked from his spot against the railing. Because that way, no one knows, so we won't have to lie, Naruto explained. All you'll have to know is that all of you are going to have either me and Hinata or me and Niji show up at your houses. Transform shadow clones, Shino said admirably. That is a clever idea, Naruto-san. Thanks, it's a good technique and it's hard to see through. I mean, if Kiba's sense of smellers abuser and A-rank missing nin couldn't figure it out, I think we'll be good, Naruto pointed out. Tenten looked excited. You could bring them to my place. My parents are on a trade mission to the Land of Rivers. You can make out with Niji after everything calms down, Tenten, Naruto rolled his eyes at his older friend. But Tenten pouted. I think this is a good plan, Shikamaru spoke up again. The only problem is how you're going to avoid bringing attention to the battle at the Haikta compound. I've thought of that. That's why I'm not going to be very subtle, Naruto said firmly. Naruto, buddy, you're never subtle, Kiba laughed. Naruto crossed his arms and sat down. The chuckles of his friends weren't helping matters. Moving on. Naruto barked. My plan is to use my summoned foxes and shadow clones to quickly find Hinata-chan and Niji. As a distraction so we can all get out, I'm going to try to destroy the way to create the Haika's seal. Naruto-kun, I do not meant to dampen your spirits, but it is likely that there isn't a device that creates the Hyuga's Juinjutsu. The knowledge of the seal is likely held by certain members of the Haika clan, Lee explained. Well, I'll still keep an eye out for something to stop the seal, Naruto sighed as he realized Lee was right. Naruto had been hoping he could immediately destroy the cursed seal forever. I guess Hinata-chan and Neji will have to help me figure something out, Naruto thought and was grateful that the Kikbi did not add any sardonic commentary. Does anyone want to back out? If you don't want to get involved, I won't force anyone, Naruto asked his friends. There was a chorus of amen or other affirmative words. Naruto smiled. Thanks guys. You're welcome, Naruto-kun. We must forge the bonds of our friendship in the hottest of flames. Lee said enthusiastically. Sakura. Tenten suddenly shouted. Sakura jumped in shock. You are now my best girlfriend. I'll be spending the night when Naruto rescues Neji. Oh okay, Sakura chuckled nervously. She remembered all the weapons Tenten had thrown during her match in the preliminaries. Sakura didn't want to become a target. Don't look so nervous, Sakura-chan. I'm sure you'll have a great time. Naruto laughed as he stood up. I think we've had enough earth-shattering revelations for one day. I'm going to find Shuboku and find out how things are going in the Haiku compound. The present Konoha 12 all agreed and went their separate ways after exchanging a few words. Naruto took a deep breath as he looked towards the Hokage monument. In that moment, he realized what would be expected of him when he became Hokage. Naruto had never felt like he was being pulled in two directions before. On the one hand, he felt as ready as he ever had. On the other, the scope of the Hokage's responsibility finally hit him. I'll have my friends to help me. I'll never be alone, Naruto's thought gave him hope. All he needed was hope. Sasuke closed his eyes and leaned against a tree trunk. After leaving Naruto's meeting, Sasuke had retreated to his favorite spot outside of his apartment. He came to this place to calm his thoughts. Sasuke still couldn't believe that Naruto had a demon sealed within him. If I become strong enough to defeat Naruto, I could defeat Itachi, Sasuke thought to himself. His thoughts were cut off quickly. Sasuke's mind went into overdrive and he instinctively activated his Sharingan as the wire tightened around him. Calm down, Sasuke. There's no need for your Sharingan. I just want to make sure you'll sit still and listen, Kakashi chided Sasuke. What do you want? Sasuke growled. To talk. You know, do that whole wise sensei thing, Kakashi said idly. If you just want to talk, why restrain me? Sasuke's growl became deeper and more animalistic. I could tell by the way you were sitting, heck, everything about you screamed where your mind was at. I'll say this plainly, stop seeking revenge, Kakashi's voice took on a serious tone. Itachi must be brought to justice. Sasuke bellowed and struggled against the wires restraining him. And he will be. But Sasuke, what you are after isn't justice. Justice is a conclusion. What you're seeking is revenge. There's a difference. You need to ask yourself two questions, what else? And what then? If you don't really understand the questions, then you're slipping, Kakashi's visible eyes softened. I've been submerged in this world for so long. I've seen cases like you more times than I can count. Every one of them who tasted revenge, they drowned in it. They were never satisfied. In the end, there was nothing. What the hell do you know? How can you even comprehend me situation? Sasuke raged. Kakashi attempted to calm his student. The copy ninja's words died on his tongue as Sasuke's face changed. Sasuke's face took on a hard edge. It was cruel, enraged, and crazed. However, it was the ecstasy in Sasuke's eyes that froze Kakashi's blood. What if I killed everyone you really love? What if I slipped and became Itachi? Sasuke didn't rave or shout. His voice was even and every word was carefully chosen. How far would you fall? Maybe you'd fall to my level. Maybe you'd experience a fraction of my pain. Kakashi sighed. That would work. Unfortunately for me, I don't have anyone I really love. Sasuke's collected and smug look melted away. His brow furrowed and his jaw shook with fury. Just like I thought. Just another person who hasn't had their bond stolen. How can someone who has never experienced loss lecture me about what I must do? Kakashi chuckled, but there was no humor in the laugh. It was a hollow broken noise. All those people have already been killed. Obito, my best friend and Uchiha, died saving Rin and myself during the Third Great Shinobi World War. Rin was assassinated a few years after the war by Iwa. The village hidden in the rocks is a bit of a sore loser. My sensei was killed during the Kikbi's attack. And my father, well, my father's been dead even longer than that. Sasuke couldn't speak. His mind couldn't form a coherent thought. In fact, his mind could barely function beyond replaying Kakashi's statement over and over again. Sasuke was even oblivious to the sting in his eyes and the dull pain on his arms. It was only when he instinctively blinked that Sasuke realized a bead of sweat had worked its way into his eyes. My life has been a long and hard one, Kakashi said softly. He was beginning to ramble. The Jonin was desperate to reach Sasuke with his words. You said that the Kikbi killed your sensei, Sasuke said evenly. Kakashi nodded. Then how can you stand Naruto? "So, he told you?" Kakashi asked quietly. Sasuke nodded. "I can stand him because I've lived long enough and know enough to realize that Naruto's the Kyuubi's jail, not the Kyuubi's new form. I had hoped, truly hoped, that you'd know the difference." The teacher and the student were silent for a moment. Kakashi shook his head and began the process of freeing Sasuke from his restraints. "I'll leave you with one question. Have you ever realized that your precious comrades would help you bring Itachi to justice if you only asked?" Kakashi disappeared and left Sasuke with his thoughts. Sasuke wasn't sure how long he had sat there. His thoughts kept going back and forth from his teammates to Itachi and back again. A sudden and subtle shift in the moon's light sent Sasuke's mind racing. He was up and primed for action in an instant. 4 figures landed on the branches a few feet from Sasuke's position. "Who are you bastards?" Sasuke snarled. "The 4 sounds. The East Gate's Kidmaru," the first mysterious shinobi said. Sasuke shot a quick dismissive glance in his direction. Kidmaru was wearing an Atogakure hit I-8 and had a strange body. The sound ninja possessed 2 extra sets of arms. Orochimaru's representative, Sasuke thought. "The same. The South Gate's Germ, the physically largest of Orochimaru's agents said. "The same. North Gate's Daiya," the lone girl introduced herself. She met Sasuke's gaze and challenged him. Sasuke responded to the challenge and noticed that the girl clearly didn't like him. "Good, I don't like her either," Sasuke snorted. "The same. The West Gate Seiken, a very androgynous ninja, introduced him, or herself. The Atogakure ninja became a blur and darted around Sasuke. The attacks came suddenly and Sasuke could barely dodge and block. He needed to buy time and space to activate his Sharingan. Sasuke crushed the fact that he could only reliably activate his Sharingan when enraged. This situation was already dangerous, and getting angry would only make his attack sloppy. Sasuke managed to block the girl's punch and used the momentum to leap away. He called upon his chakra to stick to the tree. "Now!" Sasuke roared in his mind and shot out at the sound ninja. He managed to land a flip kick to Seiken in the shoulder. Sasuke landed in a crouch in order to dodge a flurry of attacks from Kidmaru. The Uchiha didn't pay any attention to the third of the 4 Atogakure ninja and positioned himself for the next attack. Sasuke caught Germ's punch and used the larger ninja's momentum to throw him into the other enemy ninja. Sasuke felt a rush of satisfaction as he watched a large man crash into the others. The rush quickly left as a haze dissipated and revealed a number of substituted logs. "DCH, damn," Sasuke raged. "What does Orochimaru want?" "Orochimaru-sama wants your prissy ass for some reason," Taiya spat. "He said I'd come to him for power." "Orochimaru must be getting impatient," Sasuke taunted. "Orochimaru-sama feels you would benefit from his training," Germ said in an icy tone. "HMPH," Sasuke grunted. "He sent you all here to either bring me to him or kill me if I refuse." "Perceptive," Seiken said in an oily voice. "We won't be leaving tonight," Sasuke said authoritatively. "One or both of my teammates will be stopping by tonight. They'll raise the alarm that I'm missing. Konoha knows about the cursed seal and will know exactly where I'm going. We'll need a diversion. Who the hell died and put you in charge?" Taiya spat. Sasuke continued as if the girl had never spoken. "Our opportunity will come at the end of the week. I'll leave then." "This was too easy," Kidmaru grunted. "Would you rather have a battle and draw the attention of all of Konoha?" Sasuke countered. "I would rather make music with your broken ribs, but our orders were explicit. We will come for you at the end of the week," Seiken growled. The 4 Atogakure ninja disappeared in a flash and Sasuke re-entered his house. He hadn't truly had a home since Itachi's betrayal. Naruto sighed as he waited outside of Tsunade's office. He had clones carrying out various aspects of the plan. A clone had bounced ideas off Shikamaru and Choji for about an hour. Naruto had made sure to thank them by buying some barbec. It wasn't a huge amount, especially not by Akimichi standards. The meeting was a huge success, however. Shikamaru had made a few suggestions about which illusions Naruto's foxes should use. The idea to use sound-based ninjutsu had never occurred to Naruto. Shikamaru and Choji had admitted that until the chunin exams that they had never even heard of sound-based ninjutsu. Naruto had chuckled at the unintentional pun and earned a groan from his 2 friends. The second clone had just finished actually fixing Naruto's apartment door when Iruka-sensei had shown up. Iruka-sensei had come to check on Naruto but ended up practically being interrogated by the shadow clone. Iruka had let it slip that he had visited the Hika compound. The Naruto clone had asked a million questions about Hinata and Neji. Iruka had apologized for not being able to see Hinata or Neji. He did assure Naruto that the other Hika children were fine. After helping Naruto test the new door, Iruka departed for a meeting with the academy headmaster. The clone immediately dispelled. The final clones were meeting with the others. He was mainly doing it as a courtesy because he was settling on who Hinata and Neji would be staying with after the rescue. Neji would likely stay with Shino. Hinata would probably go with Sakura. The clones dispelled after completing their objectives. Naruto sorted through the influx of memories and smiled at how well almost everything was coming together. He looked up as Tsunade dismissed the Hokage counselors from the meeting. Naruto jumped down from the tree he was reclining in and walked over to the Hokage's tower. He used his tree walking ability to come in through an open window. You better not be picking up any more of your teacher's habits. Use the door next time, Naruto. Tsunade growled as she rubbed her temples. Sorry, Bachan. I just didn't want to be waiting outside the door when the Hokage left. Don't want them to have a reason to skip the negotiations, Naruto said calmly. Tsunade gave Naruto an odd look and he continued to explain. If I'm hanging out at the door and run in after you kick them out, the Hokage might think you aren't negotiating in good faith. The odd look never left Tsunade's face, so Naruto continued. What? I've had clones meeting with Shino, Shikamaru and Iruka-sensei all morning. All that smart must have rubbed off on me. Well, that explains it, Tsunade smirked. Have a seat, brat. Naruto took the offered seat. So, what word did the Hokage argue about the meaning of today? They presented several contracts they have signed and made the claims that any change to the clan's current structure ran the risk of invalidating the contracts and harming the economic condition of the entire village, the Hokage snorted. Yeah, right. What could the Hokage possibly have that could harm the amount of money we make? Naruto scoffed. A marriage contract between a Hokage girl named Miyako and Ieyasu, the heir to the Hosokawa Hand's throne, Tsunade reported. Hosokawa? Isn't it the province with that town Hirosenin and I found you in? Naruto asked. Tsunade nodded. Well, crap, they might actually have something there. They do and they know it, Tsunade acknowledged. Naruto, there's something else. What is it, Bachan? Tsunade leaned forward and rested her elbows on the great desk. I'm well aware you and your friends are up to something. Naruto tensed and gulped. Officially, I have to warn you that any direct action will be dealt with severely, Tsunade said firmly. Anything unofficially? Naruto asked hopefully. Unofficially, you better be glad I like you, kid, the legendary medic chuckled. Naruto didn't return the chuckle. I can't let them get away with this, Bachan. Tsunade took a deep breath and shook her head. If you do whatever it is you are planning, I won't be able to let you off scot-free. You're Hokage. You can't play favorites, Naruto sighed. I know that much about the job. I'm glad you understand and are mature enough to accept the consequences of your actions, Tsunade said sagely. I better get going, Bachan, Naruto spoke softly. Oh, Naruto, one last piece of unofficial business. Tsunade smiled warmly from behind her desk. Naruto looked at the woman he considered his mother. No, not my mother. Kushina Uzumaki was my mother. Tsunade, she's the closest thing I've ever known, though. Naruto mentally corrected himself. What is it, Bachan? Naruto asked in resignation. Nothing could have stopped me from doing the same thing for Dan. In the end, time ran out. The Hokage had found a powerful card to play in the various contracts the clan had with interests outside of the village. I was hoping it wouldn't have to come to this, Naruto took in a lungful of the cold evening air. It was time to act. Shuboku had discovered that the Hokage would seal Hinata at midnight. Naruto wasn't going to wait. The time to act was now. Did you really believe that it wouldn't come to this? The Kikbi asked from deep within his prison. No, but I had hope. Naruto paced around the roof and looked across the street to the Hokage grounds. Hope, the Kikbi scoffed. I have learned that if you place your faith in hope, you will be disappointed. Well, wouldn't you know, Naruto grinned. What is you so amused, Warden? I never took you for someone who ever had hope, Naruto pointed out. The Kikbi fumed inside his cage. I haven't had hope since the Sage of Six Paths died, the greatest of the Bijj forlornly thought. Hey, furball, Naruto quietly interrupted the demon before it could speak again. Do you have a name? What? The Kikbi asked in shock. Yeah, a name. I seriously doubt that Kikbi is your real name. It doesn't really have any soul to it. You're going to help me save Hinata-chan and Niji tonight. The least I can do is call you by your own damn name, Naruto said as he nervously spun a kunai around his right index finger. The Kikbi took a deep breath. I have been controlled, sealed, and degraded by your kind for longer than you can imagine. The greatest insult has been that none have ever asked for my name. You are the first to ever ask, Kikbi swallowed back the emotion in his words. Not even Mom? Naruto asked softly. Your mother, rightly, attributed her loneliness to being my prison. She was much like you. For years, only Uzumaki Mito could reach her. It was only after your father saved her from Kumo that she accepted another. You refused all week to tell me about my mother. Now, you taunt me with details to distract me from my question. Naruto watched his hand quiver in anticipation, nervousness and longing. Naruto, the Kikbi growled. He hated when his new warden got perceptive. My name is Kurama. Naruto bit his thumb and flashed through the hand seals. He completed the seals required for the summoning jutsu and slammed his hand on the rooftop. Shuboku and two massive fox demons appeared at Naruto's side. The two large demons were a strange conglomeration of flesh, brass and stone. Naruto cast an appraising glance at his latest summons and was enveloped in a blast of steam that escaped from an oddly positioned pipe. Shuboku looked up and inclined his head respectfully. "Well, Kurama, time's up. Let's get drastic. What if Naruto and Hinata hide their strength chunin exams? And thanks for watching my video till the end. If you enjoy this content, then do consider subscribing to my channel and leave a like if you guys need the next part, comment down, and thanks for watching the video and see you guys in the next video.